It is 10 o'clock. Welcome in. This is Three-Man Front. Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you until 2 o'clock. So much to get into today. A day closer to the start of the college football season. Under 2 weeks now, we'll be in Atlanta, Georgia for SEC Football Media Days. We've got NBA Draft later tonight. Hopefully you will join us at the Edge here in Homewood, just right down the street from the radio station. We will all be in attendance tonight, so come on by and see us. We'll be there starting around 6:30. The draft will start at 7 o'clock, so we will have a lot of fun tonight. I know it's going to be a warm evening, but there are plenty of libations and food available for folks to purchase tonight, so come on by, and you will be thoroughly impressed on the new 8x10 glossies that Landrum has that he will be signing there in attendance.
Yep, so. Found the one Glamour Shots in Alabama that was still open.
What mall? Was that in Oxford that you went?
Yeah, that was the one, yeah.
I didn't know if the one in Oxford was still open or maybe the one in Florence. Which one?
I don't know. Our listeners would have to tell me. It's, but say this, we were talking about Glamour Shots and some, because you bring it up all the time. We were talking about, my wife said that one of her friends growing up, she had a Glamour Shots birthday party. She said it was one of the best birthday parties she ever attended.
Well, Molly has just found one that is still open in El Paso, Texas.
The closest one to us.
So if you're ever in the El Paso...
there's one in New Jersey, too.
That's Juarez, right? Is that Juarez right across?
It's very close, Juarez is.
Yeah, it's right across the river. The wonderful-looking river.
When you go to Glamour Shots
in El Paso.
Molly, do you know anything about Glamour Shots?
Now I do.
Oh, okay. I don't know. So
I'm on a Google deep dive.
So they have stylists. They'll do your hair. Do you go in and you're ready with everything? They just do your makeup.
Oh, is that what they do?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
No, I'm not familiar with that.
I hate to reveal this, but I've actually never been to Glamour Shots. I know people who have.
It was very famous back in the day for real estate people. You know, if you sold houses.
Yeah, that would make sense.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That they would go and get some really nice headshots.
Glamour Shots was a big deal. I remember, golly, so many of those stores from our yesteryear. Dr. Pet, you remember Dr. Pet?
I don't remember that one.
At the Galleria?
Don't remember that one.
Yep. They literally had puppy dogs in the window. You just go in, you can buy a puppy.
Buy your puppy at the mall.
Now it's pretty much a rodent. Or a fish, or a bird maybe. Yeah. Birds are messy.
Yeah.
But we learned yesterday that birds are actually not birds.
Yeah, they're fake.
They're fake.
Government entities.
Yep.
According to Conrad.
Again, watched one poop all over my deck this morning. Can we get the robot to stop pooping on my deck?
So now you're complaining to the government about the poop on your deck?
Yes.
All right, so last night in New York City, the Atlanta Braves, my goodness, could they just play the Mets all the time? This is the way it sounded on the Braves radio network.
Garrett deals, and Olsen slugs one into right field. A base hit for Matt. Eli scores. Here comes Michael Harris. He scores. And the Braves first baseman deals a huge blow here in the top of the sixth inning. It's a 2 RBI single, and the Braves have a 5-3 lead. Dickie Lovelady brings the 0-2, and Olsen whips one into right center field, into the gap. That's going to continue to roll. Acuna off to the races, hits the bag at third. Here he comes to the plate. Mets at the cutoff man, RBI double. Matt Olsen hitting him where it hurts tonight, and it's 6-3 Braves in the eighth. 3-1 pitch. And that's hit in the air to deep left field. Nemo back over his head, off the wall on the fly. Olsen will score. Ozuna into third base. RBI double, as that was absolutely tagged by Riley. 7-3 Braves. A ball and 2 strikes. Pitch on the way. Ground ball to Ozzie. He secures. Throws to first base, and the Braves are a winner. They hold on and beat the Mets by a final score of 7-4. Taking advantage of the Mets' mistakes on the mound, the Braves had a big 6th inning and a few more runs in the 8th, and they hold on tight and win it 7-4 over the Mets.
5-run, 11-batter 6th inning for the Braves. That was the difference. It was the 81st win by the Braves at Citi Field. That is the most wins of any team outside of the Mets in that stadium since it was constructed. So they have owned the Mets, not only over the last 3 years, but in that building. 81 wins. Very impressive. The Braves have now won 28 of their last 38 against the Mets. and they have a plus 85 run differential against the Mets during that time frame.
I'm with you. Can we just play them
My goodness.
every game? Now, it'll get tougher because you don't have the pitching matchups tonight and tomorrow that you had with Swelly and with Strider last night. Top of the 6th inning, 35 minutes long.
It was long, very long. And the Mets just, the way that they just keep walking guys left and right. Their pitching staff is just, wow.
Brazaban, and he did it. He did it last week in Atlanta, and he does it again last night. Yeah, Mets fans are not happy.
So the Braves just 4 games under 500 now, 9.5 games back in the National League East. There's 6 games back in the wild card race. So the Braves and the Mets will continue their festivities in New York, and it's already been a successful series. You win the first 2 games. You like to close things out against them, but the Mets have got some serious problems. You can just tell that team has, even before they went to Atlanta, they were starting to wilt a little bit, and it's just continuing to go downhill for them. So I know you hate that.
Yeah, it crushes my heart. The only thing that is worse is you have the Phillies that are now enjoying a very comfortable lead, what seems like a comfortable lead. Not that we were the Braves. I'm a Braves fan if you're just joining the show. We're ever going to contend for that division. Now I'm at the point, guys, where I just want to just play good baseball. Let me enjoy my summer.
Well, the good news for you is that they are playing better than the New York Yankees.
This is true.
I mean, I like how Conrad sent me a text the other night as they were getting ready to start a series with the Reds. Like, we're going to help you out. We're going to take care of the Reds.
Cincinnati.
Yeah. Cincinnati.
It's not your daddy's Cincinnati.
That's one of the first 2 games of the series against your beloved Yankees.
Yeah, it's been a rough stretch. I think they were 0 for 12 with runners in scoring position 2 nights ago. And then last night they lost in extra innings. They haven't won a game in extra innings all season.
Ask me how my last 2 nights have gone watching television.
How have your last 2 nights gone watching
It's
television?
been phenomenal watching us beat the Cubs the last 2 nights.
I feel good too.
Including watching Crow Armstrong that everybody had already
easy
had already proclaimed as the MVP winner of the National League. And
he's been the MVP of my fantasy team.
Did you see what he did last night? He forgot how many outs there were, runs up, catches a ball up against the fence. Forgets that there's only 1 out, not 2. And so not only did our runner tag up from second, but he came all the way home to score, and that run ended up
Pat, he's got
winning the game.
He's got ADHD.
Oh. And then he tried to bunt later in the game. I mean, here's a guy that's hit, 20-something home runs and 67 RBIs.
You got him bunting.
And he's bunting.
That's what the Cardinals do to teams. That's what they do to teams, Pat. You're out of sorts. You're doing things that characteristically you just don't do.
But I will give him credit in the post-game comments in the locker room. Taylor McGregor asked him about a couple of those brain farts that he had last night. He looked at her and he said, I just did not play the game of baseball very good tonight.
He'll bounce back today.
Can't argue. So, yeah. So, we're now 2 games out of first in the National League Central.
Looky there.
Swimming right along.
Yep. But it's a 4-game series. So, Patrick Isbell was texting me last night from 18 South because, despite him being a Cubs fan, I like Patrick. And
yes, we all do.
He was texting me. He was a little bit upset that the Cardinals have decided over the last – they literally – I think they've hit 8 2-run homers in the last two days against the Cubs.
Well, back to the Braves if they're going to make the –
No, we're not talking about the Braves right now.
No,
we're talking about the Cardinals.
Well, they have to go 14-8 in their next 22 to keep the 20 wins, 10 losses per 30 games.
What was the math you were telling me?
Oh, I was just saying they're 28-10 against the Mets over their last 38 games, so they just need to do that against everybody else.
That's the problem.
And then you'll be fine.
That's the problem. We lose to
Just do
teams like
that.
the Rockies and the Marlins.
Now, see, I was going to be bothering Molly last night, texting her because Scooble was on the bump, and they were a 1.5-run favorite last night against the A's, which I liked a lot. And he gives up a 2-run homer in the first inning. And I'm like, oh, are you kidding me?
But the game ended okay.
No, it did.
Yeah,
they covered.
they
That's
did.
all I cared about. Could care less if they win or lose, as long as they cover.
What, our 50th game? First team to 50?
Do you get a trophy for that?
I hope so.
Do you get an American League pennant for winning 50 games before anybody?
That'd be cool if we did. Well, I know we don't.
I'm feeling a lot of second half disappointment coming your way.
Well, I'm just happy right now. I used to pray for times like this, so I'm okay.
Oh, the ALCS is going to be so much fun this year.
What, Yankees in Detroit?
That's right.
Ooh.
It's going to happen.
So today's kind of the midway part of Major League Baseball. Most teams will this is either 80 or 81 games on the schedule. So,
by the way, Dickie
halfway home.
Lovelady.
You like that name?
I do. Sounds like he should be a real estate agent or have an insurance agency.
So what'd you think of Chase Burns last night?
Yeah, he was pretty good at the beginning. He struck out 6 guys in a row in his debut. It's been he was quite good. We've had some trouble with the rookies lately because you had is it Christian Moore for the Angels that got called up. He was the Tennessee guy a couple years ago, and he beat us a couple nights ago. Drove in a couple runs, and he had a big night last night. So yeah, we're struggling against these rookies right now, Pat.
Yeah, Chase Burns, if you remember, he was the fireballer that shocked a lot of people when he left Tennessee.
Yep.
I mean, he was like the top guy on that pitching staff, and then he goes to Wake Forest and plays at Wake Forest, but then he was drafted last year. He was the number 2 overall pick in last year's draft, and so he made his debut last night in Cincinnati. His fastball averaged 98.4 miles an hour. I think in the first inning he touched, 101?
Mm-hmm. He's good. He's good.
But you did get to him a little bit later.
Yeah, scored 3 runs off of him, but, man, just extra. And it's just bad. It's just bad baseball right now.
You had Jazz Chisholm showing his backside in between
ejected,
innings. Yeah.
Second
Did Boone
time
get
this year.
ejected, or was it just Chisholm?
No, surprisingly not. Surprisingly not.
So he doesn't have his players back.
Not anymore, no.
I mean, he's been thrown out more than anybody, right?
Yes.
In all of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, he has a big-time track record of that. So, hey, if this keeps going on, players might not have his back either.
Do you think Major League Baseball, they just have like something set up to garnish his wages immediately? Like he's got a separate account, Boone?
Oh, you mean the second, like if he were to get fired and then he just gets to...
No, I'm talking about when he's like kicked out of a game because you had to pay a fine.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it's just a direct deposit. It's just, all right.
Yeah. They garnish his wages.
They just hold it out of his
Yeah, you were
paycheck
kicked
every
out
month.
like 5 times this month, so...
I would
Be
like
a
to
little
bring this quickly back to the Braves. Did you know that
Why are we doing this?
Nick
We're talking
Allen,
about the Yankees
Nick
now.
Allen, our shortstop, that's his uncle, is Aaron Boone. His father-in-law is Brett Boone.
Really?
Yep, he's married to Savannah Boone.
It's actually really cool.
Yeah, it is. 3 for 4 last night. Way to go, kid.
I will trade you 1 manager for 1 Nick Allen. How's that sound?
He's
Right about now. We could use a guy that could go 3 for 4 that's not named Aaron Judge.
well. I'll tell you, he went into the night, I think, hitting
I was
222.
about to say that was
so
probably the best night
Yeah.
of the season. for
that's
him.
probably one he's going to show his grandkids. The 3 singles that he got.
Yeah, I saw a graphic on the Braves broadcast where they showed where his hits landed in the exit
Yes.
velocity.
Yeah.
Hey, hit's a hit.
That's it.
Doesn't matter if it's 110 miles an hour off the bat or 78 miles an hour off the bat. If you get on base, you did your job.
2 of his hits looked like we got up there and we got lucky and we got a hit.
Hey, as you said, a hit's a hit, and I'm going to start doing this every day, I think. But I checked FanGraphs this morning. Y'all are still projected for 84. Cardinals only projected for 85 wins. So I'm just saying. Just saying.
84.
They've been very optimistic about you guys all season, though.
Yeah, they have been.
FanGraphs has been very generous to the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to be. We're not going to make the playoffs.
It's just interesting
Aw.
that they have y'all essentially
No,
finishing the same way
that's
as the
fine.
Cardinals and the Padres. Who
That's
both
fine.
are
I'll
much better
casually
baseball.
watch. You guys will have teams in the playoffs. I'll casually watch, but I'll dial in on college football. That's great. Give me week -2.
Will you root for one of our teams in the postseason?
I will. I will adopt a team.
I can promise you it won't be the Yankees.
Oh, I already know that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to be one of y'all.
Yes, Conrad. I will not adopt your team.
Yeah, I didn't expect that.
There's just too much there.
And I would probably angle that he would go the Cardinals because we're a National League team. And he's all about the senior circuit.
God forgives, but I don't forget.
Do you forgive?
Yes, I've forgiven Jim Leyritz. I've forgiven all of those Yankees.
Well, Alabama heat and humidity can be brutal, but don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Train cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand for 11 consecutive years, and they're the official cooling partner here at Jox. So go and find a comfort specialist near you at train.com.
Well, it is talking season, so what a better person than to do some talking about college football than the old ball coach, Steve Spurrier. He had some interesting comments about Arch Manning. We'll hear those comments next on Three Man Front. It is 10:19 here on Jox. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front. Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you until 2 o'clock. 10:45, we'll talk to Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider. He has got a lot of college football we're going to get into in regards to win totals and some thoughts around the Southeastern Conference. 1 o'clock hour, the head basketball coach of the Birmingham Squadron will be on the program. Coach Saint will be on the program. as we will talk to him about tonight's NBA draft. Hopefully you'll be able to get by the edge this evening and see us beginning at 6:30. So as we were going off the air yesterday, I told you guys about a comment that Coach Steve Spurrier made during a podcast. He does at his restaurant there in Florida, he does a podcast once a week with Pat Dooley. Pat Dooley, outstanding writer, longtime columnist for the Gainesville Sun. He retired a couple years ago. He and Coach Spurrier, very close friends. And so he does this podcast from Spurrier's restaurant. And so yesterday, or I should say, I think it was 2 days ago, he recorded this, in which Pat Dooley asked Coach Steve Spurrier about Texas and Arch Manning. Take a listen.
I think most people are picking Texas to win the SEC football. They've got Arch Manning already winning the Heisman, too.
Yep.
And my question is, if he was this good, how come they let Quinn Ewers play all the time last year? You only have to ask the coach, Sark, how come you played that one instead of this one? Hopefully he'll say, because we thought he was better in that one.
Yeah.
Isn't that why you played one guy and not the other? Unless it's a discipline, and there was no discipline.
Old ball coach, man. I love him.
I do too.
Love him. The times that I was fortunate enough to have dinner with him and just talking ball and just talking about life and just talking about, his days and what they did at the University of Florida.
It would not surprise me if you're there in Gainesville, you walk into his restaurant, that he is there as the maitre d'.
Mm-hmm.
Or he just comes up to your table and sits down and just starts talking.
Yep. Just talking ball.
He's just having a conversation.
So what do you guys think about that comment? Do you think he was throwing shade at Arch, or the fact that the media has already proclaimed that Texas is going to win the league? Like, where do you think that's coming from?
I think this goes back to his rivalry with UT.
With the University of Tennessee or the University of Texas?
University of Tennessee.
Oh, and
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning. It's just the Manning family.
I think so.
Okay. And that could be legitimate. That's why I was asking. I just didn't know y'all's perspective on why Coach Spurrier would feel the need to.
Well, and I mean, it is kind of funny because you could make a similar argument about Florida of, wow, you won 8 games last year and everyone's already crowning you as a playoff team and DJ Lagway's the greatest thing ever. And, it goes both ways. I guess.
Now, Coach Spurrier, I believe it was here in recent months where he said that he looked at Billy Napier's roster and he thinks that, I don't know if he gave a win total on it, but he thinks Florida should be really pretty good.
Last year he said 9 or 10 wins, right?
Was that last year or was that this year?
I think it's this year.
I thought it was this year.
I thought that was last year.
Surely nobody looked at that schedule and that roster and said, "No." He might have had a couple.
Sure it was last year because we were all like, their win total was what, 3.5 at one point, or that's what we were talking about. Was some people thought they were going to win 3 games, and he was bowing up.
I'm skeptical. Going back to the original comment, I'm skeptical on Texas, not necessarily because of Arch Manning, but just because of we heard all of this last year.
Most people picking Texas to win the SEC. They've got Arch Manning already winning the Heisman, too. My question is, if he was this good, how come they let Quinn Ewers play all the time last year? And he was a 7th-round pick.
And I think the other thing with Arch is we've seen him play, right?
NIL.
He has had to start a couple of times, and he was good. I think he was a good quarterback last year, but he wasn't great.
Arch played in 10 games last season, started 2, and then Ewers was injured. That's why he got the starts. Manning was impressive during limited showings in those 10 games. He completed 68% of his passes. He was 61 of 90 for 939 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. More impressively, he completed over 78% of his passes on 3rd down, and he was 85% in the red zone. Not to mention the fact that he ran for 108 yards and 4 touchdowns last year. So I think that's another reason why a lot of people are talking about him for the Heisman and leading Texas potentially to a national championship. So he's been there for 2.5 years. Would you like to take a guess how many times he has been made available for an interview to the media? He's been there 2 years.
0. I don't think I've ever heard him.
2.
5.
5.
Looky there.
5 times. Once during the Sugar Bowl media day in his freshman year, another time for the Cotton Bowl media last year, once this spring, and twice after his 2 starts in the fall. So he has met with the media 5 times since he's been in Austin. Would you like to take a guess how many times he has tweeted in his 2 years at Texas?
3.
I was gonna say 3, 4.
5.
5.
5 is just my number today.
He tweeted for the first time when he committed to Texas.
And then NIL stuff.
And since then, only 4 other times. How many times do you think he's posted on Instagram?
5.
5.
It's not 5.
Oh, man.
17.
16.
I was thinking like 10.
16.
Oh, good job.
Landrum undercut you.
You know why? You know why I went with 16?
Why?
That's his number.
Yeah, and Uncle's number.
The point.
Come on, Conrad.
The point being
I was
is that
thinking 18. Sorry.
he's been very sheltered in regards to the media. Because my knowledge, he's not coming to SEC football media days.
Okay.
So he
That's
hasn't.
fine. Give us somebody controversial.
They haven't put him out there. He is purposely not on social media. That is by design by his family
Probably a good idea.
to keep him off of social media. I don't think he actually participates in social media even looking at it.
Yeah, no, he definitely strikes me as somebody runs that account for him. Cooper may run it for him, honestly.
And I don't think that's a bad thing.
But I was also looking back to his visits when he was considering schools. I was told very early on that there was no way that he was going to end up at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
The people that I know at Ole Miss was like, they would love to have had him, but that was not going to happen.
So did he not
y'all-
want to go to Ole Miss or Tennessee just and follow? He didn't want to
Yeah, well,
follow the uncles?
there was another reason at Ole Miss, and I'm not getting into
I
it.
think Georgia was a real possibility.
Georgia was a real possibility. So he went to Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Ole Miss, and LSU. Those were his official visits. He ended up going to Alabama, Texas, and Georgia 4 times on visits. So it came down to those 3. And the general feeling was that it was between Texas and Georgia.
Yeah.
It was not
Alabama.
Alabama.
It's after Saban let everybody leave and said, Art, stay in here. I'm not going to be around.
But I think Georgia was a serious contender.
Yeah.
But I just found that interesting how he went to Alabama, Texas, and Georgia 4 times.
Do we believe that
visits.
Texas is head and shoulders talent-wise above everybody else in the SEC?
No.
I don't.
I don't either. Do I think they have a lot in the cupboard? Absolutely.
Yeah. Is their schedule favorable? Yes, but it was last year.
But do I think that they're head and shoulders above LSU, Georgia, Alabama? No.
Couldn't beat Georgia with a backup quarterback last year.
I don't think that team exists in the SEC where your roster is that much better than everybody else's. No, two years ago, different story. 3 years ago, yeah, you could have separated, but now with transfer portal and NIL, it's a lot closer than it was.
Absolutely.
Did you ever think that he was a serious candidate to go to Alabama?
No.
I don't remember him going 4 times to Alabama.
Yeah, I didn't either. I thought he was kind of it's one of those, Alabama's interested, maybe he's interested, but I remembered it being Texas and Georgia pretty much. That was it.
Yeah. It's Courtesy GMC summer sales event, and the savings are hotter than ever. Right now in Trustful, get up to $15,000 off the luxurious Sierra Denali Ultimate, or save up to $11,000 off the rugged AT4X with the largest selection in Birmingham. Plus, Courtesy GMC, they have 30 certified pre-owned vehicles ready to go right now. 9 acres of inventory. Go by and see them over the next couple of days and the weekend. They have got a GMC vehicle for you, and the deals have never been better. Don't wait. Visit them in person off of I-459 exit 32 or online at courtesybirmingham.com. That is Courtesy GMC.
Brian Edwards, our Vegas Insider at 10:45. It's a busy Wednesday, 3-man front on Jox.
10:33 here on Jox. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front. Yesterday afternoon, multiple reports say that a decision is looming on the expansion of the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournaments for 2026. And that decision is expected to take place over the next couple of weeks, August at the very latest. The expansion would be no more than 76 schools. The NCAA remains in talks with its media partners, Landrum. So I suppose the reason why we don't have an answer yet is the fact that they're trying to negotiate with whether it's TNT, TBS, True TV, or CBS in regards to what they want to do with the expanded playoff.
What do you want to do with your home, with your business, with your yard when it comes to pests? And I'm talking about the stinging kind, especially this time of year here in the state of Alabama and the Deep South. The friends at Stark Exterminators want to remind you they can take care of your home, your place of business, inside and out. They're going to send a professional and courteous team member like they did at the Roberts house over 3 years ago. They're going to inspect it thoroughly, inside and out. They'll address any current problems that you have and any that might come up down the road. Stark has been family-owned for over 61 years. That still resonates with someone like me, and I'm sure lots of you as well. 100% of your satisfaction as a customer is guaranteed, and they're going to use the most environmentally effective solutions available. Call today for the free home or business pest inspection, or both. 855-STARK now, or go to starkexterminators.com. Enjoy your yard again. Enjoy your outdoor space. There is a place for the bugs and the stinging insects somewhere in the ecosystem, but it's not on your family. It's not on your kids. It's not on your pets. Stark Exterminators. 855-STARK now, or go to starkexterminators.com. When you do so, tell them Landrum from Jox sent you.
Oh, when you hear that sound on this show,
That means somebody got a commitment.
That's right. And last night, the Auburn Tigers. I thought everything was going south, Conrad.
It's actually
I guess
technically
it's
going east.
Yes!
We're on top of that one.
That was beautiful.
How do you say his name?
He's from New Zealand.
Nico Heppy?
It's Nico, but he spells it with A-U.
I saw a video of him saying his name, and it sounded like Nico to me.
Okay, so it's Nico Heppy.
Sure. He
Okay.
just said his first name.
6'7", 370. He has announced his commitment to the Auburn Tigers. He got his first offer as a recruit from Auburn earlier this year and visited for a camp this summer. So he now joins the 2026 class. He was ranked as the 852nd player in the 247 composite. He's the number 72 offensive tackle. He's never played a snap of American football. And Alabama's done that. Alabama's grabbed some guys from Northern Europe.
I was about to say, man, what's his last name? But it's Olas. He's one of the offensive linemen. He came from over there.
Yep. But Heppy joined the NFL Academy that works with international players to get them recruited by colleges. So after putting out a highlight tape of him working out and running through football drills, the Tigers offered him. Other schools also was in the mix, most notably Florida State, the Seminoles. FSU Dave must have got a hold. You know, he's got a lot of European contacts and
Yeah, of course he does.
around the world because of his tennis network. And so, yeah,
Also UAB. That was one of his finalists as well, FSU and UAB.
how about that?
Did you say 370 pounds?
370 pounds.
That's a lot of meat
Big
pies.
boy.
He
He
is
has a
6'7",
he has a
370.
big rugby background, apparently. That's where
What?
this
They let
came-
him play rugby?
Said he grew up playing rugby. I would not want to be on the field with him.
No.
He'd run you over.
And doctors say he hasn't even hit his growth spurt.
Daggum.
He could end up playing for Bruce Pearl.
He's a big boy. Honestly.
Put him on the
Put him on the
baseline.
block.
Yeah.
6'10", 380.
Whew.
Athletic.
So 6'7", 370 from New Zealand.
And he was I saw it was cool because they were making a big deal from the academy because he's the first player at that academy that they've ever had
To go to an American school.
go to an American college to play football.
I can
that's a
see
very
Hugh
cool
Freeze looking around the
opportunity.
room. It's like, all right, who wants to volunteer to do the in-home? Everybody raises their hand.
Anybody going to Europe this summer?
Yeah. Could you stop
We'll
here?
get you a connecting flight.
Yeah.
So do you think that has caused you to hit pause on Auburn's?
No, it's still panic on the plains.
Yep.
It's just fun to say that.
The panic on the plains.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, it is good though. It's not somebody that's going to contribute this year, but certainly a project that they're hoping pans out. It's a cool story.
Didn't Alabama, who did they have?
Olas.
Olas Alanin, I think, is his
Yeah,
last name.
but there was another.
I think they had another one from Germany.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, I think you're right. I think it was another lineman. We got a walk-on long snapper yesterday, though.
Are you not going to play the sounder and tell us about it? I mean, what's he doing? That's very loud.
That was
That
very
was
loud.
loud.
Yeah, Alabama got a walk-on long snapper yesterday. from
Name? Give me
from
his
Wisconsin.
What's his name? What's his name?
measurables.
Ben Dutch. He's from Wisconsin. I don't have his measurables.
Dutch.
So what is going on? All of a sudden,
Big Ten
Alabama
country.
is getting players from the upper Midwest.
What kind of velos you get on the snaps?
It's just a good question. I'm not sure.
Now, I did see that Alabama missed out on the tight end from Minnesota, the player of the year.
Voss.
Yeah, the player of the year in. So you were going for the player of the year from Nebraska,
He'll go to Iowa.
the player of the year from. Now I think he
Probably.
committed to Minnesota, did he,
he
not?
did. Yeah, he's staying
Yeah,
at
it's
home.
early in the
staying
game.
home.
He's rowing the boat.
He wants to be a golfer.
Golden Gophers.
Yeah, rowing the boat.
Iowa will have the last say in this. They like to feature 4 tight ends at one time in their offense.
Well, he should go
They
to
are
Iowa.
very good at that.
He
Yeah.
should go to Iowa.
They
if he's gonna
are.
do
And
that.
you know what? Those guys get drafted too.
They do.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of tight ends, were you watching last night?
Where we're going.
Were you watching last night as Taylor Swift jumped on stage in Nashville?
No.
Yeah.
What? You missed it?
What?
Do you not get the alerts like the rest of us do when Taylor Swift does something?
Was this like a flash mob type deal? Nobody knew she was going to do it?
So, Conrad, they're having the tight end. What is it they're having in Nashville?
I think it's called Tight End University, which you can't make this stuff up.
you
But
can't.
it's an event that Travis Kelce was holding, and of course, she's from Nashville. And
Who's got the tightest end in Nashville? Come and join us.
It sounds so
Right there on
bizarre when you
Broadway.
say it,
It
but
does.
it was an event that Travis Kelce held, and he was very nice and had his girlfriend come and put on a little entertainment for everybody.
Yeah. So she hopped up on stage, and here's a little snippet of what it sounded like last night. Now, whose bar was it?
Morgan
I am
Wallen.
not sure.
Aldean's, maybe?
I think that's it.
I
Yeah.
think it was
sure.
Aldean's.
We would have gotten there eventually.
All right. Here's a little snippet. What do you think?
That's the song I play after a Braves loss.
Do you do the routine and everything?
That's a good one to play.
Of course I do.
Yeah, shake it off.
Do you remember the high school football team that did the...
I do. I do remember
That
that.
was actually pretty good
Yeah.
to that song.
Yeah, so apparently the event is something that Travis and George Kittle and Greg Olson all put on together, and it's essentially just a way for people that play the tight end position that are recruits to come together, or college players and come together. And
Yeah, I did see a
Work on
clip
their
of
craft.
Kelsey working at this camp with future tight ends, and it was very like listening to him explain certain things off the line of scrimmage as a tight end and trying to go into your break and your route, and it was very. I'll give him major kudos. I mean, it was educational. I mean, I learned something in the 2-3 minutes I watched of him teaching that. So
How many people were there at this event, roughly? Did it look like a lot of people?
I mean, the bar was packed,
How about I
Yeah.
say it was pretty full?
and I don't.
I don't know how many players
They
are
didn't
attending,
advertise it,
but-
though, because it would have been
Oh,
chaos.
No.
I think there's a lot of players invited.
How do you think that conversation went? You think that was they were going up to the event and she was like, "Hey, do you want me to do
Well, I
something?"
also saw
or-
some videos before she came up. She was having a good time. There
Yeah.
was let's just say she was staying hydrated there at the bar.
Ooh, apparently they had a big after party as well. That's always fun.
Wow.
I actually, I have a sorority sister who's married to an NFL tight end, and she was there.
Taylor's
She got
all
a picture.
sloshed.
With
She
To
got a
make
Tay.
everybody
She did.
turn their phones in.
Nice.
Are we gonna sing this next song? Yeah.
She sounded a little rough at first, but
A
then
little
she
pitchy.
settled in. Yeah, she settled in though.
A little pitchy.
She settled in. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure that doesn't have the normal acoustics.
Well, you
that
don't
she's
have your
used to from her
synthesizer in the
arenas.
comforts of your. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. She's talented.
Vegas insider Brian Edwards joins us next on 3 Man Front. 1046 here on Jox. Each and every week, we are so blessed to be able to talk a little Vegas when it comes to what's going on and what he likes. And I'm talking about Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider, MajorWager.com. If you follow Brian on Twitter or you follow MajorWager.com, he's putting together just outstanding previews of all these teams around college football. We talked about Vandy a good bit last week, but I want to ask you about Texas. We've been having a conversation here on the show. Some of the comments that your old ball coach at the University of Florida, Steve Spurrier, kind of chastised Texas a little bit, and the media going ahead and saying that, Texas is going to win the national championship. They're going to have a Heisman Trophy winner and all that kind of stuff. Where do you currently have Texas in the grand scheme of things this year in the SEC and the college football playoff?
Well, their win total's 9.5 at FanDuel, shaded to the over. You got to pay a big minus 196 price. If you like under 9.5, it's plus 158. They're the plus 290 chalk to win the SEC championship game. Phil Steele's national unit rankings have them third at quarterback, third at running back, fifth at wide receiver, number 26 O-line, number 9 D-line, number 1 linebacker, number 6 secondary, number 6 special teams. So if Phil Steele, if he nailed these, they are, top 9 in every unit except for O-line, where they're 26. I marked them, or first off, number 1 overall recruiting class, number 25 transfer specific, 5 5-stars, 18 4-stars. Of the 11 transfers, 9 are 4-star transfers. I marked them 9-0. 3 swing games being at Ohio State, where they're 3 or 3.5 point underdog, at Florida, where they were a 7.5 point favorite, but I've seen it move to 7 at DraftKings, and FanDuel now has it out at 6.5. And the other swing game being at Georgia, where Texas has 2 weeks to prepare, and Georgia doesn't. Georgia plays at Mississippi State the week before, and I believe Georgia's either 2.5 or 3 that spread in games of the year. So, I mean, they're favored in 2 of those, favored at Florida, and then small underdogs at Ohio State and at Georgia. So that makes me think it's a good line with the, heavy juice on 9.5. I think they're most likely a 10-2 team, but maybe a 9-3 team.
So if you're going, Brian, power ratings, rankings, if you think that they're a 10-2 team potentially, who's next in the SEC or who is before them? How would you have your top 3?
Well, I haven't gotten quite there yet. I've marked every SEC team. Like, I've got Georgia 7-0 with 5 swing games. And a lot of those swing games, I know what the spreads are, and I can kind of, for Georgia, the 5 swing games, I've got Bama at home, where they're favored by 4, at Auburn, where I've seen them anywhere from 7.5 to 6. I think Auburn's got a great shot in that game. Great spot for them. They got 2 weeks to prepare. Georgia's playing its 3rd game in 3 weeks. I've got Florida, a swing game. Now, that line, I've seen it go from 8.5. I saw, was it a 7, I think, yesterday? Maybe even a 6.5, because, several other books have added games of the year now. And then Texas at home, where I said they're minus 2.5 or 3. And then the Georgia Tech game, they're minus 12.5. I love Georgia Tech to cover that game. Georgia probably wins that game. So I should probably say 8-0 with 4 swing games. So, I mean, Georgia's probably a 10-2 team. I could see there being 3 or 4 10-2 teams. Maybe Alabama's one of them. Maybe LSU's one of them. I don't think Florida gets to 10-2, but I think 9-3 is a good possibility. So I don't know. I think I kind of went on a tangent there. I don't know if I answered your specific question. I don't have my SEC power rankings.
No, that's fine.
I'll have them soon.
I wanted to just get a general idea who the top tier of the SEC was in your eyes.
Yeah, so Georgia, Texas, Bama, and LSU, I would say, is the top tier. The middle tier, Florida, A&M, Ole Miss. I kind of want to say, I don't know about Tennessee's quarterback play. South Carolina, I mean, I love their quarterback, but God, they lost a lot of dudes in the trenches, especially in that front seven defensively, where they might have had the best, front four defensively in the country last year. I mean, they still got Dylan Stewart, preseason All-American, but they lost Kennard and a couple D tackles, so they lost some dudes on defense.
Well, so one team that you did not mention in that next tier is the Auburn Tigers. And when you talk to Auburn people, they feel like the ceiling could be 9 or 10 games in which they win based on the fact that you got Georgia and Alabama both at home, and their schedule, they believe, if they can get Baylor in week 1, it kind of works out pretty well for them. Where do you see this Auburn team and their win total? Would you go high or low on them?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they're possibly in that second tier. We'll see on Jackson Arnold. I mean, not that he's got to. I've said a few times. I don't think he's got to live up to his 5-star billing coming out of high school. I think if he's just a better than average SEC quarterback with that wide receiver core, and they've got a quality O line. Phil Steele's national unit rankings got them 12th at O-line, 6th at receiver, which I don't really agree with. I think it should be top 3 or 4 in receiver. I think Auburn's going to be good. I marked them 6-0 with 6 swing games. I'm really high on Baylor this year, though. I think that's a true swing game. At Oklahoma is a true swing game. At A&M, I think it's probably a loss. A&M's got 2 weeks to prepare, and that's the 5th game in 5 weeks for Auburn, and it's a back-to-back road spot and the 3rd road game in 5 weeks. So that's a good spot for A&M. So I would say that's probably an L.
What about Vandy? Can Hugh Freeze finally slay the dragon that is Diego Pavia?
I don't know, man. Diego Pavia is Hugh Freeze's daddy. He's 3-0 against him. And he's beaten him against the spread by 124 combined points, and the combined score of those games is 97-31. Pavia, and Pavia was a 26-point underdog, a 24.5-point underdog, and a 7.5-point underdog, and outscored Freeze 97-31. And only one of those games was at Liberty. 2 of them were at Auburn.
Yeah.
New Mexico State won by 3 touchdowns.
You don't have to remind anyone here in this state. That was a fun
So
Monday.
I don't know if they're – I mean, look, Auburn's got a better roster than Vandy, but, I mean, Diego Pavia is Freeze's daddy.
All right. I mean,
there's no disputing that.
That's – Hugh Freeze probably wouldn't argue that.
We're kind of short on time, Brian.
By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this last week with you guys. So – I listened to Pavia. He was a guest on Bussin' with the Boys.
Yeah.
He said an SEC team offered him $4 million to come there. And I got one guess on who that was.
We disputed that.
Pavia might have been exaggerating, but if there's one guess.
I think he rounded up.
Yeah, I think he rounded up a couple million, probably. But I don't
maybe.
know. Yeah. All right, Brian, listen, have a great weekend. Stay cool down there in beautiful Santa Rosa, and we will talk to you next Wednesday.
Thanks, fellas. Y'all have a great week.
You too.
Thanks. Brian Edwards always joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Hour number 2 straight ahead. This is 3-Man Front on Jox. It is 11 o'clock. Welcome back in. It's hour number 2. Appreciate Brian Edwards, Vegas Insider, joining us just a couple minutes ago. You can always go back and listen to that interview in its entirety as he was going over some SEC win totals for 2025 in college football. Coming up at the 1 o'clock hour, we will talk to the head basketball coach, TJ Saint of the Birmingham Squadron, as the Pelicans, the parent club of the Birmingham Squadron, they get 2 top round picks. They traded a couple days ago, so now they're at number 7, I think 26.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken.
Could get some SEC flavor in there. Trey Johnson, Texas. Jeremiah Fears at Oklahoma.
Is Texas in the SEC?
They are now.
No.
Softball, officially.
Oh, yeah, because they won the national championship.
Yep.
That's right.
You're on the clock, A&M.
You might be waiting a while. It's been a while since A&M's.
Well, once the NCAA recognizes equestrian, I think they're good.
Our 3-man front Twitter poll question of the day, Molly, has to do with the Alabama Crimson Tide of the last 25 years.
Yeah, so The Athletic recently ranked the top 25 college football players of the last 25 years, and only one Alabama player, Devontae Smith, made the list. He was number 13, I believe. So what other Alabama players should have been considered in the top 25? Should have been Conrad's favorite, Tua. Should have been Mark Ingram, Bryce Young, or Derrick Henry. And the voting is kind of funny because it is literally Derrick Henry in a landslide. He is winning with almost 90%. He has 89.3. The next closest is Tua with only 3.9. And then Mark Ingram and Bryce Young are tied with 3.4.
Were you surprised when you saw that list, Conrad, that Derrick Henry was not listed as one of the top 25 players from the year 2000 through last football season?
Yeah, that's an embarrassing omission, in my opinion. I mean, and I'm not – look, everyone knows Tua is my favorite player, but, I mean, I voted for Derrick Henry in the poll. I think if you're looking at just a dominant player, I'll be honest, I would have Derrick Henry on there before I had Devontae Smith on
Well, that
there.
was my next question. Would you have had Derrick Henry ranked ahead of Devontae Smith?
I think Derrick Henry is – I think you could argue he is if I had to pick one definitive player from the Nick Saban era, I might pick Derrick Henry.
And the reason why is how often he got the ball, how many carries he had, how dominant he was.
Yeah, he was unstoppable. And there's been a lot of great players, but when you think of Nick Saban and wanting to run a football and having a dominant and just physically dominating an opponent, you think of Derrick Henry.
Yeah, you have a guy that can sustain just a peak level of what he does and get the ball 400 times in the course of a season, not miss a beat.
Yep.
Yeah, all day long.
All right, so it begs the question, Devontae Smith coming in at number 13. So if you look at the list in front of Devontae Smith, Andrew Luck, Stanford. Larry Fitzgerald, Pittsburgh. Then you get into the top 10. Terrell Suggs, defensive end at Arizona State. Travis Hunter. Tim Tebow.
Wait, he's at what number?
Tim Tebow is at number 8. Travis Hunter at 9. Tim Tebow at 8. Vince Young at 7. No, keep that mic on. I enjoy the background.
Mm-hmm.
I like it too.
Ed Reed at 6, safety from Miami. Lamar Jackson. Now we're getting into the top 5.
I can't.
This is the top 25 players of this century from 2000.
Lamar Jackson's better than Vince Young and Tim Tebow?
According to this, yes.
Who's the poor sap that had to put this together?
It was a collection.
Okay, so they're not going to put it on one guy.
That was a smart move.
Yep.
So your top 5, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow at 4, Sue at Nebraska at 3, Reggie Bush at 2, and Cam Newton at Auburn was ranked as the number 1 player in college football of the last 25 years.
Okay, well, at least they got that one right.
And I think they got Reggie Bush right, being where he is.
What about Sue at 3? Would you say that Tim Tebow was a better football player than Sue at Nebraska?
It's just
Yeah, I mean, personally, for me, I think Tim Tebow and Cam Newton are the only right answers for the best.
Yeah, Tebow's way too low.
again, people ran away from Sue. Tebow got the ball Yeah, they were both great.
Yeah, oh,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
It's so hard to compare
Mhm.
a dominant defensive lineman versus a quarterback who does everything in their offense.
I was about to say, typically, the quarterback's going to get the benefit of the doubt,
For
right?
sure.
Well, and
Except
I'm
in
not
this list.
picking on him because he went to Nebraska and Molly's sitting right across from me. Huskers were a good team in 2009, but they were not a national title contender. They finished 10-4, and they were number 14 in America, with supposedly the third best player in the last 25 years. So
Well-
let's pump the brakes on Sue being one of the top 5 players in college football in the last 25 years.
Well, they're telling you he's the best defensive player of the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
And Ed Reed is the second best defensive player in the last 25 years.
And Suggs being on that list, I don't have any problem with that.
no.
Mm-mm.
No Honey Badger.
See, and that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, who else would we have on that list that would be a defensive player? And that was Tyrann Matthews, the first one I thought of.
Just not only that, but what he was able to do special teams.
Yep.
So let's go 14 to 25. Let's see the ones that took out Derrick Henry of not making
Oh, no.
the top 25. You ready for this? At number 14, Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
Number 15, Marcus Mariota.
Don't say that name too loud.
Okay.
16, Chase Young.
Okay.
Okay.
17, Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 18, safety from the University of Oklahoma, Roy Williams.
That's a good one. Yeah, he was awesome.
19, Julius Peppers, North
Yes.
Carolina.
Yes.
Great one.
Yes. He's ranked actually too low.
Aaron Donald at 20 from Pitt.
Yeah, he's also too low.
Jaden Daniels
He's ranked too low.
at 21.
But that's recency bias.
Right. Yeah.
Sean Taylor, safety from Miami.
It's a good one again.
Brock Bowers at 23.
Yeah.
Honey Badger, 24. And
Okay.
Quentin Nelson, a guard from Notre Dame
Hey,
at 25.
Don't
Gotta
say
have
that
one of
name too
those.
loud either.
Gotta have one of those. I just think
So
it's
my
funny that
question
Christian
is-
McCaffrey, who lost the Heisman to Derrick Henry, is on there and Derrick Henry's not.
No, Derrick Henry not being on there that's why we're doing this exercise, and I realize that, but that's a joke.
So which one of those players would you insert Derrick Henry for as opposed to Marcus Mariota?
I would take Derrick Henry over Marcus. Again,
Did you have another
can't
running
make a
back on there?
comparison. I mean, I'd put him up there over McCaffrey.
There wasn't
I would
another running
too.
back. Give me a wide receiver. Is there a wide receiver on there? Sorry, you just went through a lot of names, and I can't
Well,
remember.
they had Christian McCaffrey on there. Would you
Yeah.
have McCaffrey ahead of Derrick Henry?
So the only wide receivers they have as listed as the top 25 college football players in the last 25 years was Travis Hunter,
and Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith. He had Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh, and yeah.
And it shouldn't take away from what he does, but I think what hurts Derrick Henry in this is you had so many good players in the tenure of Nick Saban in Alabama, and you had so many other complementary pieces, surrounding parts, like wide receiver, the quarterback position, the offensive line. I think that hurts him when they're putting together a list like this.
What about Jameis Winston?
Stop.
He went 28-1 as a starter and then won the national championship.
We remember that 28-1 though.
I mean, is he not worthy? I think Jameis Winston.
I would have him over
is-
Mariota probably.
I would have Jameis Winston in this top 25 as opposed to some of these clowns.
Yeah, I would probably throw Manziel in there as well. He didn't win a championship or a conference championship, but in terms of how good he was as a single player.
But you think about Cam Newton being at number one. Now you had other pieces and guys that stepped up on that team, but he was that offense.
Oh, they didn't have another player on that team that that played meaningful snaps in the NFL. It was him.
We're talking about Darvin Adams.
Yeah, no,
But let's not forget that Nick Fairley,
No doubt.
what he
Again,
did that year.
Yeah, I don't
He
want
was
Auburn
good.
fans saying, "Hey, what about this guy, this guy?" I'm just saying what Cam Newton meant to that team, and especially on the offensive side of the ball, and how dominant he was. That's why he's number one.
Cam had 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He had 285 rushes for 1,500 yards and 24 touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see somebody have a season like that again. I mean, that's the best single season anyone's ever had.
Cam Newton did seem like that guy that at any time, if he decided to flip the light switch, then you were done.
Mm-hmm.
And he was that guy.
And there are a lot of great players. I mean, Joe Burrow was great, but he had way more talent around him. Tebow had way more talent around him. All these guys did compared to what Cam had.
But getting back to just Alabama, that question, if you were to consider our poll question, and of course, over majority of folks are going to say Derrick Henry, and then you kind of go down a road of, okay, the last 25 years in Alabama, who's your top 5? And most people, I reached out to a couple people because I was having this conversation last night, and it was funny because none of them mentioned a defensive player as a top 5 player. And you think about all the incredible defensive players in the last 25 years for Alabama, whether it's, obviously.
Where was Joe Burrow on this list?
Burrow was number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Minka Fitzpatrick.
See, that's the first defensive player, I think.
Hightower. All the incredible linebackers they had.
Yep. McClain, Jonathan Allen.
Yeah. I mean,
Quinnen Williams, Surtain.
All the incredible kickers they had.
Stop.
Papadakis.
Like kicker, you mean punter?
I meant kicker, place kicker.
Hey, Will Reichard was good.
He was.
Mm-hmm.
He played 7 years.
He broke the curse.
He did play for 7 years, and I thanked him for that.
But it's just interesting because that conversation I was having with these two individuals that know SEC football as well as anybody, they did not mention a defensive player in their top 5 in the last 25 years of Alabama football.
And I think maybe some of that is also the recency by, I guess we're closer to the Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian era of Alabama football with them running the thing.
Because would you put Bryce
Then the Mark
Young
Ingram.
over name any defender who you would put as one of the top defenders in Alabama history?
I mean, I would have some of them, yeah. But I mean, I would have Minka ahead of Bryce Young. I would have Dante Hightower. I'd have Rolando McClain ahead of him.
But some of the things that Bryce Young had to do because of the lack of an offensive line.
Yeah. Well, there's no
It was
talent.
incredible.
There's no
He was
no
incredible.
question.
Some of these you're splitting hairs.
But it's also
Never won a
interesting
title either, though.
because one of the names, and we did not put it in our poll question, but one of the names that was very frequently mentioned to me as a top 5 player was Julio Jones.
Okay.
And I will tell you this, that, and maybe this is some of the bias that some people will say about Julio Jones. Julio Jones was the first player that Nick Saban, that's what got the whole recruiting out of Foley High School, what he was able to do. And I'm telling you, standing next to him on the field and warm-ups and I literally was standing about 20 feet away from him when he caught the screen pass against LSU and ran it the distance for the touchdown. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I've ever seen a guy run as fast as when he caught that ball on the flank and just took it to the house. And he was so imposing when he was on the line of scrimmage.
The offense was just so different that it's, the numbers aren't what they would be now.
I mean, if you had Julio Jones,
If you ever saw him
Tua,
play in high school,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could make him and Calvin, he's arguably the best wide receiver in football of the last 25 years, any position, like any.
I mean, if you were to put
level.
him in an offense with Tua or Bryce Young at quarterback,
It would have been unfair.
no, it's just amazing when you look at him in high school playing against, and not that they were playing against bad competition, but you wonder how he didn't score every single time he touched the ball his entire career.
Yeah, he's incredible. But like what Pat was saying, I think that's where a lot of people go with Julio. He was naturally talented, one of the best ever at Alabama. It was just the way the offense was run then. It wasn't.
You're blaming
a heavy
G-Mac.
passing game.
You're
I'm not
blaming Greg
G-Mac.
McElroy.
I am not blaming G-Mac. It is the way that the offense was.
and what he did in the blackout game against Georgia when John Parker Wilson was the quarterback, I mean, that literally just trampolined Bama into the next era in regards to the recruiting efforts. I mean, that was the one that got everything going.
Yeah, he's probably the most important recruit Nick Saban ever had.
Yeah. So we would love to hear from you. 1-800-239-WJOX. What do you think about the top 25 list that the Athletic has of the last 25 years? If you got a thought or two on Cam Newton being number one, only one Alabama player in the top 25. Love to hear from you. Courtesy GMC text line is also open, 205-834-9450. Love to hear from you. 1-800-239-WJOX. Very interesting list. We're in that time of the year where we get a lot of these lists, but pretty fascinating that Cam Newton, number one, according to The Athletic, the top 25 players in this century from 2000 through last football season, and Devontae Smith, the only Alabama player making the list at number 13.
Well, coming up tonight, almost exactly 7 hours from right now, we are all going to be at the Edge in Homewood, and we will be taking in the NBA draft tonight alongside the Birmingham Squadron. So head coach TJ Saint, he is going to join us on the program at 1 o'clock, but he will be on site with us as well. So happy to have you all out there. Say hello and take in some NBA draft action. They're going to have food and drink specials from the Edge tenants. They're going to be doing season ticket giveaways. I know they have arcade specials, golf simulator, all that good stuff. So come join us, the four of us from Three Man Front, at the Edge in Homewood tonight at 6:30 for the Birmingham Squadron NBA Draft Watch Party.
You going to wear your golf shoes to get in the simulator?
Yeah, I need to get some practice swings in. I'm playing on Friday, so
Yep.
need to warm up.
We'll take your phone calls, 800-239-WJOX. A lot of reaction to the Athletic and their top 25 college football players, or their top 25 of the last 25 years. Derrick Henry's not on that list. Some of you texting in your responses, 205-834-9450. First, let's go to the phones. Rick, how are you?
Oh, doing great, guys. Man, I just want to say it's best sports talk radio in the country, hands down.
Thank you.
That list has got to be one of the stupidest things. They've got probably 6 players right. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, how you don't have Henry ahead of a couple of those, man, I'll never know. How Tebow's at 7 or 8. What you
Yeah, he's at 8.
I kind of lost the radio.
Yeah, he's at 8.
That is so ridiculous. It shows you they have their head clean up their butts when they make them live.
To be fair, Rick, it's really tough. It's a tough task for anybody to put one of those, because it's so subjective. Whether you're talking about what position you played, what year you played, who was the surrounding talent, what was your schedule. But I agree, it's inevitable. You're gonna get asinine selections.
I could ask you, Pat, and Conrad to sit down and make a list, and I guarantee you it'll be 10 times better than what they put out.
Well, Rick, I appreciate that, but I will tell you this. You also think about what has been the most successful football program in college football in the last 25 years. It's the University of Alabama.
No doubt.
And for you to have only
correct.
one Alabama player in the top 25, and nothing against Devontae Smith, but you could probably make an argument for 2 or 3 other Alabama players to be ahead of Devontae Smith.
Oh, I agree completely. Hey, just real quick, guys. I know it's way in the future, but it's class of 2028. Y'all were talking about Julio, and I'm not comparing this kid to him, but he was just offered a week or 2 ago. His name's Nehemiah McCary. He's out of Maplesville. This kid is an 8th grader. He is 6'3", 220 pounds. I coached him in All-Stars years ago. Great kid, man. Watch him for in the future. He is going to be.
Now, what was his name again? What was the young man's name?
Nehemiah McCary.
Okay.
Nehemiah McCary. He was just offered, I think, last weekend or weekend before, but he's class of 2028. He is the most natural athlete you will ever see. He is going to be something on the football field.
He's 6'3", 220 pounds.
At 14 years old, when we coached
he's not kidding to Damien
in baseball. No, he's not kidding to Damien at all. When I coached him in All-Stars, he was 8 years old the year we took him. We were playing Chelsea, Helena, Pelham, and we live down in Chilton County, right? Every game was started with, I need to see his birth certificate.
I bet it was.
Yeah. Wow.
Hey, great show, guys. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Thank you for the phone call. Yeah, keep an eye on him.
Yeah, he's a linebacker.
He might grow himself out of that
Obviously,
wide receiver
he
position.
plays both sides in high school. I would imagine he plays a lot of positions for Maplesville, but yeah, they're going after him as a linebacker. Also got offered by Georgia, so.
I didn't realize it. I know it's a name from the book of the Bible, but this is the first time in recent memory I've tried to spell out Nehemiah.
Nehemiah, yeah.
It's not as easy as some might think.
No, thankfully Google helped me out too, because I definitely butchered it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the video here of this kid. Wow. I'm going to ask just an honest question, Pat.
Mm-hmm.
How long does he play at Maplesville?
Yeah, that unfortunately, I think that's.
Sorry, Maplesville. I hope you keep him, but that's the nature of.
Yeah, I think.
Sports these days.
And unfortunately, Rick, what you just did is you went on the most popular radio station in the Southeast when it comes to sports talk, and you have probably just put him on the radar for a lot of schools in the high school realm that might be knocking on his door, because that is a real thing.
So this is showing where Alabama, they offered him just a couple of days ago, 4.540.
He was an 8th grader last year?
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, at that point, just reclassify and go out as a 17-year-old like Ryan Williams. I mean, seriously, if you're that big.
Good
already.
Good news though, and I'm seeing this quoted from a Alabama site. They interviewed him, and he said, "An Alabama offer, it means a lot. It's been my dream school since Little League ball. It's a good school with good coaches that's going to push you."
That's right.
Georgia has also offered him.
Nah. He's probably never seen Georgia beat Alabama in his lifetime. He was sleeping during that
He
national
needs to
championship.
call George Pickens. Look what they did for him.
Well, hopefully he plays more than George Pickens.
Hopefully
did at Georgia.
Alabama doesn't get what Auburn got and Gus Malzahn on the signing day flip with George Pickens.
Hopefully he doesn't get a tattoo of one school and then commit to the other school.
That'd be awkward.
We've had that happen before.
Golly. Can you imagine the text going back to the high school comment? Some of the follow-up text, Pat, that I now cannot read? Well, I can read it. I'm not going to say the school. How long till he has to, quotes, move to fill in the blank high school, LOL.
Is this a Metro Birmingham high school?
Pat, I will not answer any more questions on the advisement of my attorney.
I was just curious.
Bobby just got fired up hearing that news.
Fired up as in that he's been offered?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
This text rolls in. This is Garrett from Jasper. Hey, Garrett. Hope you're doing well. He texts into the text line and says, Quentin Williams and Will Anderson are the two most dominant defensive players of the Saban era. Two really good ones.
Very good ones.
Cody says Reuben Foster.
Speaking of tattoos of a different school, man, he was fun to watch on special teams too. Talk about a head. He was trying to put every single person he hit in the hospital.
One of our friends has sent in, if you go chat GPT, top 25 college football players since 2000. Number 1, Reggie Bush. Number 2, Tim Tebow. Number 3, Joe Burrow. Number 4, Cam Newton. Number 5, Vince Young.
I mean, that's a really
good list.
That's a really good 5. I don't know if I would have them in that order.
Yes.
But that is interesting that Chat GPT would say that Cam Newton was not number 1.
Let's see some of the others. Sorry, these were sent, and I'm trying to find them in order. Justin Fields came in at 21. C.J. Stroud at 22. Larry Fitzgerald at 23. Deshaun Watson
Hold
at 24.
on a second. Time out. This is Chat GPT saying the top 25 players, and Justin Fields was ranked as one of the top 25 players in the last 25 years.
He was. All right, I won't read anymore.
Oh, man.
That is just discredited the list.
Now, Deshaun Watson, sure. We can have that conversation. But Justin Fields?
Sam throwing out maybe a high school in the state of Alabama. Would be very interested in him. He does list a particular school.
Isn't it amazing how people hear that and they automatically...
Yep.
How would you describe that school's mascot? I'm sorry, I just wanted to see what you would do.
Yeah, I'm not touching that.
I just wanted to see if you would take the bait.
Well, somebody just answered your question. You can read it if you want to.
No,
I'm not dealing with that phone call.
I'm not dealing with it either.
I don't know what y'all are talking about.
Don't even. No.
No. This one coming from Steven. He says, high school recruitment is definitely a real thing. I got recruited my 8th grade year to play for Evangel Christian Academy in Shreveport, and I live in South Louisiana. Evangel had it going on.
Yeah,
Remember Joe McKnight?
Oh, yeah. I know that Montgomery Bell and Nashville, they do very heavy recruiting around the Southeast. Like almost every single top player they had outside of the Herb Streets, because Herb Streets lived in the Nashville metropolitan area. But most of their top-notch players were not from Tennessee.
Well, yeah, because you look at the high school top-tier recruits, Pat, and Conrad, you've been following this for a while, but by state, how Tennessee would pale in comparison to all the other states, but now they're gaining ground because of some of these schools. You had, what was it, Deuce Knight at Auburn. Didn't he go? He played in Tennessee for at least a season, right?
I think that's
Yeah, the one I'm
correct.
thinking of is Ty Chandler, who played at Tennessee.
Yeah.
We played them. We played them back-to-back years. Hewitt did. And I remember when we were in Nashville and just they were very open about it, is that Ty Chandler was from the state of Mississippi. And because Montgomery Bell was a private school, that they literally could offer scholarships. And
Well,
they
it's
would
like IMG.
and they would pay people to move and play whatever sport because obviously they had the money. That's why Ty Chandler was playing for Montgomery Bell. Then that led to him getting a scholarship to the University of Tennessee.
By the way, for the late Joe McKnight, one of our texters said he played at John Curtis. He also played at Evangel Christian, which is where I remember hearing his name first.
Evangel Christian, that they had some really top-notch players.
They played
coming out of
here
there.
at the Hoover Met against Hoover at least once. Yeah, they were good. Yeah, Hoover was really good too. Someone now we have people guessing what particular school this is, and this was a guess that
Should this be a poll question? Should we put that out as a poll question?
yeah from Conrad's Twitter account.
Yes.
I was about to say, is it that difficult of a question?
No, but somebody did just ask if it was a certain school, not the school that everybody else has been referencing, maybe a school that is near and dear to you.
Oh, they wouldn't do that at Hayden.
Heck no.
Uncle,
We're the schools that lose all the players. Are you kidding me?
All right, we will continue with your texts and your calls as they're coming in left and right on the Courtesy GMC text line. This is Three Man Front. 11:37, Jox. This is Three Man Front. I'm just having a little fun here on a Wednesday. Hope you'll join us tonight, starting at 6:30 for the NBA draft down at the Edge Shopping Center here in Homewood, as we'll have the big screen out. I know you were in San Antonio when Molly and I did the remote there on Final Four weekend. And, man, it was a great location.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's fantastic. All the wonderful restaurants and 18 South is located there. So if you've not had an opportunity to get by.
I'm going to go into 18 South a little bit early.
I'm sure Patrick will have the AC running really good.
Oh, yeah. And he'll have baseball on.
That is true.
He's probably not talking to me since we've taken out the Cubs the last 2 nights. So we'll see, though. Did you like Scandal as a group growing up?
I was not familiar with Scandal.
Yeah, it's the song you just heard.
Oh.
Scandal.
Scandal.
Patti Smith?
No relation. She spells Smith funny. It's with a Y.
Close.
Yeah.
I probably don't say this enough, but I do say it from time to time with some of the creative texts we get. We have just absolutely brilliant listeners.
Oh, they're smart as a whip.
Yeah, they are. And we certainly, as a show and our sense of humor, we appreciate it. Thank you.
And hopefully the audience understands
Yeah.
the humor that we like to
I would hope so.
invoke into the program.
Yeah, you'll get somebody every now and then that hears it wrong or they've never laughed in their life. Those are the ones you always remember.
One thing's for sure, this time of the year with the heavy storms, Abide Roofing could be the ones that you need to have in your phone right now at 205-922-7134, because you need the peace of mind of knowing that your roof is okay right now, because they can give you a free roof inspection, no strings attached, or pressure from Travis Lloyd and his outstanding local roofing team. And if there is a problem, and if you've noticed because of the heavy rains we've gotten over the early part of the summer, and you might have some leaking going on and you see some shingles missing on top of your roof, well, they can take care of that at Abide Roofing. Simply call them at 205-922-7134 or just go to their website, abideroof.com, and you'll find out all about the company. You'll find out what they can do for you, because I'm speaking from experience. They replaced my entire roof. I've never been happier with something that I've done at my house than when I called Travis Lloyd, because he dealt with my insurance company because I had missing shingles. I had leaking into my kitchen. They took care of it at Abide Roofing. I 100% trust these guys. You should too. They're licensed, bonded, insured. They're the real deal. AbideRoof.com, 205-922-7134.
Greatest college football players the last 25 years. That list being debated by you, by us here on the show. Coming out from The Athletic, 205-834-9450 on the Jox text line. And a lot of people taking issue with this. Walker says a few defensive names I'd like to get your thoughts on. James Laurinaitis, Eric Berry.
Great one.
Yeah. Really good football players. I don't know how to say the other name. Drake says only Bama player I would have had on the list would have been Andre Smith.
He was good.
So it is interesting. We were just talking about this athletic list that had the top 25 about 1 year ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
ESPN came out with their list. So this is a year old.
Yes.
But who did they have at number 1?
They had Nebraska's own, Ndamukong Suh.
Was the number 1 player of this century.
Now, granted, this is a year old, and the list is a little different from the Athletics. Number 2, they have Baker Mayfield. That was priceless.
All right, so they have Sue at 1, Baker Mayfield 2.
Mm-hmm.
Who's 3?
Cam Newton is number 3.
Okay, he was number
Back
1
on
in the
track now.
Yep.
Number 4, they have Vince Young.
Okay.
Number 5, they had Ed Breed.
Okay.
6, they have Tebow.
Still too low, but okay.
7, they have Reggie Bush.
Wow.
Too low.
8, they have Bryant McKinney. 9, they have Joe.
Okay, go ahead.
Wait, what would they write about Bryant McKinney?
For all the absurd skill talent that Miami had during the early 2000s, then they go off and list some players. They also had the most devastating offensive line in college football to lean on it when it needed to.
Who did this?
Okay.
Who did this?
This is ESPN.
This was Connolly, right?
Mm-hmm. It was.
All right.
Shall I keep going?
Yes.
Number 9, Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Number 10, Larry Fitzgerald.
Great player.
Number 11, Terrell Suggs. Number 12, Joe Thomas from Wisconsin.
Okay. Yeah,
The
we're doing
Badgers.
the offensive line thing again. Okay.
Number 13, Khalil Mack. 14, Aaron Donald. Shall I keep going?
Yeah, because I'm waiting for an Alabama player to be
Okay.
listed.
Well, 15 is not. It is David Pollock.
That's perfect.
That's actually
That's
is
perfect. That is perfect.
That's
Number
awesome.
16 is Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
17 is Roy Williams. 18 is Kyler Murray.
Oh God, that shrimp. All right.
19. It is an Alabama player.
Is it Derrick Henry?
No,
So it's Devontae.
that is correct. All the way at number 19.
Can we go back to Brian McKinney?
I was about to say, I think that one may be more mad than the first list.
I just, for the life of me, it would be like any list, whether it's take the domination of the Golden State Warriors in the NBA, and you say the most dominating, give me a list of players over the last 10 years in the NBA, and you've got maybe one Golden State Warrior on that list.
Like, yeah, Steph Curry was probably like the 12th best player in the NBA over this time
If
period.
I'm Bill Connolly, I'm going to my assignment editor and I'm saying, all right, I will largely make this list up, but can we put ESPN staff?
There's one more Alabama player on this list.
In the top 25?
Correct.
It's Derrick Henry.
It is not, actually. Do you want me to keep going? I'm at number 19 right now.
Sure, go ahead.
All right, number 20 is Lamar Jackson.
That's a joke.
21, Justin Blackman from Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
I mean, he's good, but like what?
Yeah. Wait. What year did he win the Heisman?
Oh, golly.
Jags regret that one.
Yes, they
Yeah,
do.
they do.
Yes, they do.
Well, number 22 is an Alabama player. Any guesses?
At this juncture, no.
He's a recent one.
A recent
well,
one?
Yes.
Bryce Young.
Wrong.
Tua.
Wrong.
What are we doing?
I'll tell you. Will Anderson Jr.
I mean,
Of all the players since 2000,
Yeah,
and
no.
you're going to put him ahead of the incredible linebackers that Alabama's had in that time frame?
He didn't do anything against Texas A&M.
Yeah.
that's wild.
That's the list for you.
And that is the same as The Athletic. That's since 2000, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and that was done, I think it was June 29th of 2024 when that list came out. And the athletics list came out just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, well, that's why Jeremiah Smith's not number one.
That's why
Good night.
that would be the question that I have for anybody. In any era for any sport, like what was the most dominating team during that era? Was there one team that absolutely cleaned the clock of other programs? And that's Alabama. And you've got one player and he comes in at number 19?
Yeah.
That makes no sense. But oh well.
No Travis Carroll.
At least, I will say this, at least that list, well, it's a year early. I'm sure would have it now. Like Travis Hunter being in the top, he's one of the 10 best college football players of the last 25 years. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? There's a lot of good players out there, but like, come on.
I would have Travis Hunter in my top 25.
I might have him in my top, like maybe
I don't
25.
know. I don't
but
know
not
where
top
he would be
10.
on my list, but he would be in my top 25. What about you, Pat?
He would be probably between 20 and 25.
I wouldn't put him in the top 10.
No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, top 10's wild.
No, and it's funny how Tim Tebow just And covering Tim Tebow and those teams at Florida during that time frame.
It's like people forgot how good Florida
people
was.
completely forgot how just incredible Florida was.
Yep.
Yeah, also, no Percy Harvin on either of those lists. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we got a lot of those. I say a lot. A few of those texts. Why no Percy Harvin?
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, we will continue this conversation on this hot, steamy Wednesday. We'll be at the Edge this evening. Come by and see us for the NBA draft. The head coach of the Birmingham Squadron will join us at 1 o'clock, talk about tonight's NBA draft. All that straight ahead on Three Man Front. We're 10 minutes in front of the hour. This is Three Man Front on Jox. Thanks for making us a part of your day. 1-800-239-WJOX, the Courtesy GMC text line. 205-834-9450. A lot of things we've been talking about this morning, including these top 25 lists of the greatest players this century from the year 2000 through 2024. Molly was just telling us about the ESPN list. That's a year old, but it was interesting hearing that they still only had one Alabama player in the top 20, two players in the top 25. CBS Sports came out with one, Molly, and it has to do with the most dynamic players in college football. Did Alabama fare any better?
Well, we're about to find out. But remember, they named theirs dynamic.
So it's not the best. It's just the most dynamic.
Number 1, they have Reggie Bush. Number 2, they have Cam Newton. Number 3, Johnny Football.
Okay.
He was dynamic.
He was.
Number 4, they have Lamar Jackson.
Okay,
He
another one.
Fair.
So far, I like this list.
Yep.
Yeah. Rounding out the top 5, we have Vince Young.
Okay.
Yep.
Number 6, Travis Hunter.
See,
Yeah.
belongs in the top 10 on that one. Yep.
Number 7, AP, Adrian Peterson.
Okay. He's just a really good running back, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
8, Darren McFadden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
McFadden was good.
Yeah, it was.
Really
Number
good.
9, we have our first Alabama player. It was Devontae Smith.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They moved him around a lot.
They did. Number 10, Tavon Austin.
Oh, that's a good. Oh, yeah. That's a really good one.
Number 11, the Honey Badger.
Yes.
Yeah. So far, I like this.
I do too.
No complaints.
I
He
can't argue.
belongs on the list.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
Number 12, Pat White.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Golly.
I love Pat White, man.
Yep.
Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah.
Number 13, Conrad's favorite, Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
He was dynamic.
He was dynamic.
It's really small, too.
That's what made him so dynamic.
Yeah, you couldn't see him out there.
Well, he couldn't see above his offensive lineman. The numbers he put up, that's incredible.
That's why he did a scramble, get out of the pocket where he could see.
He overcame
So much.
so much.
I don't like him.
14, Devin Hester.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
15,
Not to be confused with Jacob.
number 15, Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
16, Michael Crabtree.
See, I don't.
Crabtree.
I don't
was-
think Barkley was that dynamic in college.
It's like Adrian Peterson. He was a
Really-
dominant running back.
Yeah.
But he kind of gets lost in the shuffle because it's Penn State and they've
Yeah.
had a lot of dynamic running.
and they wear
True.
black cleats, and everybody that wears black cleats looks slow.
Yep.
That's a good point.
17, we have another running back. Is Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was.
He's versatile. That's for sure.
I'll never forget when he did not win the Heisman. I mean,
Yeah.
the national media wanted him to win the Heisman.
Yeah, they did.
Well, too bad Derrick Henry was playing that year.
18, we have another running back. Running back from Kansas State.
Yeah, Darren Sproles.
That's right.
Yeah. You talk about being vertically challenged, overcoming a lot,
Hey, that's a short football player. I like him.
Number 19, we have another
and
quarterback.
wearing a high number.
A quarterback from Baylor.
Okay, RG3.
That's correct. This is fun. Number 20, we have a Florida player. Percy
Percy.
Harvin. Yep.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
21, Jadeveon Clowney.
Yep.
Well, until he decided to take the game off to start the next season after he had the incredible hit against Michigan.
Oh,
I've never seen somebody have one play make like he's a great player, don't get me wrong, but that one play made him millions of dollars.
Yeah, and then go watch the film of him in week 1 of the next college football season and watch him take every play off and tap out and go to the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Want me to keep going?
Sure.
There's only a couple left. We have a Michigan quarterback coming up next.
Tom Brady.
You got J.J. McCarthy?
Former
Scott
cover
Leffler.
Oh,
athlete.
Denard Robinson.
Correct.
Yeah, shoestrings.
We have another running back with Dalvin Cook, Tedgen Jr., and then
Ooh.
DeAnthony Thomas rounding out the top 25.
That list is much better than the other ones.
Can we go back to Brian McKinney?
Do we have to? We'll continue with your calls and your text. Hour number 2, or the halfway point on this Wednesday. This is 3-Man Front on Jox. We're at the halfway point of three-man front on this Wednesday. Thanks for tuning us in. Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you until 2 o'clock. Atlanta Braves victorious last night 7-4 over the New York Metropolitans. That series will continue. We talked a little bit about Arch Manning, some comments Stephen Orr Spurrier said about the Texas quarterback. Also been talking about these extensive lists, these top 25 players of the last century from 2000 through 2024. Some interesting comments from our listeners. Love to hear from you at 1-800-239-WJOX, 205-834-9450 on the Courtesy GMC text line. Now, the NCAA Division I Council, they have been meeting the last couple days, and there have been some top stories that have come out of these meetings. First off, remember we told you that Sacramento State about a week ago, they were denied. They wanted to join the FBS. And there was a recommendation to the D1 Council that they would not be allowed to do so. Well, the D1 Council yesterday reaffirmed the commitment of not allowing them to move to FBS. So the president of Sacramento State, he has released a statement saying Sacramento State has met every meaningful benchmark for FBS membership, and we believe our university, our students, and the entire Sacramento region deserve major college football. We're full steam ahead, and we still plan to be playing FBS football in 2026.
You know what? At this point, given what's probably coming down the road for a lot of programs due to the House settlement, can you really afford to be turning away programs that fulfilled the financial commitment and everything else?
If
you're
they
going to be
wanna
selective.
play, let them play.
Let them play.
What's the big deal?
See a Jai Hall curse.
You got the money, just let them play. So the D1 Council on Tuesday, they reaffirmed the prior recommendation that Sacramento State would not be allowed to be an FBS member.
My question, who is trying to keep them out?
Speaking of conference realignment, there's been a volley of non-FBS realignment moves that are coming. Now, we are anticipating at any moment Texas State is going to make the jump, and they're going to go to the Pac-12. They're going to leave the Sun Belt.
Go West, young man.
Per sources to Yahoo Sports, the ASUN and the WAC are going to form an alliance where 5 football-playing ASUN members will move in 2026 to the WAC, which will then be rebranded as the United Athletic Conference. So the WAC
sounds better than Wackason.
And the ASUN combining forces, Southern Utah and Utah Tech are leaving the WAC for the Big Sky. There's a lot of stuff going on out west.
Man, Utah Tech.
Do they give the ASUN schools?
There's the 5 football-playing ASUN members are moving to the WAC.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So a lot of movement there. One other bit of information that is coming out of this NCAA Division I Council meetings, and it will be officially approved this afternoon. Are you ready for more college basketball? Because it's coming.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about the expansion of the NCAA basketball tournament. I'm talking about the regular season. Barring unexpected and extremely unlikely motion to vote against the recommendation, they will approve today the regular season for college basketball to expand by one more game. Teams will now be allowed to play 32 games during the regular season as opposed to the 31 that currently they play. Division I men's and women's basketball oversight committee voted in favor of this, and so now it goes in front of the D1 Council, which will vote this afternoon. This is a 19-year rule in which you are only allowed to play 31 maximum games during a regular season. It used to be you could play 28 to 29 games, and they increased it to 31, and now they're going to increase it to 32.
More revenue.
More opportunities. If you're paying players, you want to get a return on your investment, right?
Yep.
Need one more game to divide the millions of dollars that you're paying somebody to play basketball for you. So that increase will also push teams that make the NCAA championship game to play as many as 41 games during a full season. To this point in the history of college basketball, nobody has played more than 40 in a full season.
41. One more game. It's not going to hurt, right?
And the reason they give to say that they need to play one extra game is because all of these multi-team events, all these tournaments that are now available, like the NIL tournaments, the one that like Alabama played in Vegas and things of that nature, it's given them an opportunity to play those additional games. So they feel like if they just increase it by one, that will allow everyone to be underneath that number. Which makes sense.
When do we get the expansion of the tournament?
I think it's going to happen in the next
soon,
couple
right?
weeks. Yeah.
Go to 76?
76 teams for the men's and women's tournament. So a lot of talk this week has been about some interesting comments made by Thomas Castellanos, the starting quarterback for Florida State. Well, another quarterback that is going to face Alabama this year, Lenora Sellers for South Carolina, he's got a little bit of a different take on Alabama than the Florida State quarterback.
Shoot, Alabama's still Alabama to me. They were good last year. They're a good team. They're big, strong, and fast. That's how I remember watching them growing up, and I don't really think they've changed that much. Obviously, they got new coaching staff and all that, but that's still SEC ball. That's still Alabama. So,
Conrad, did that make you smile hearing Lenora Sellers talk about Alabama still Alabama?
No, he's being too respectful, Pat. It's disgusting. No, I mean that's I think the attitude that you should have. You lost to them last year. It was a great game, very close game. And we all expected that game in South Carolina is going to be very, very tough this year. But yeah, no, that's exactly the attitude you should have. They're still Alabama. They're still good. And we're going to take them seriously.
We didn't play you the question, but just listening to the talk show host that asked him the question was basically laughing at the comments of Florida State's quarterback. And then you heard Sellers' response. I think Sellers has also been coached up pretty well from a media standpoint. Like,
he's got somebody that's awake.
Like, do not do that.
Running that stuff. And he strikes me as a guy that's pretty humble. He's a dynamic player.
I was about to say, I also think he realizes that he's good enough to where he maybe doesn't have to talk like that
He
because
doesn't.
his play speaks for itself, whereas with Tommy, it's maybe a little bit of a different
I would love to see
story.
what his deal was that he signed at the end of last season. Because there
For
were
Sellers?
a lot of teams that were in that sweepstakes offering big, big money. One in particular, it was crazy money.
I would bet he's somewhere in the 2 to 3 range. You think it's even higher than that, maybe?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big expectations this year.
Now, is it Diego Pavia, $4 million?
Well, I mean, no one's getting Diego money. Come on now.
No, it would be, I would say, north of Yaxel Lindeborg.
Big money then.
Mm-hmm.
Big money.
Is that game in South Carolina, Alabama versus South Carolina, is that a night game? Have they announced that, or is that the window?
I think it's one of those where it's like it's either going to be at 3 o'clock or it's going to be at 6 o'clock. Where they don't know what.
You'd rather play them during the day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That
You get
stadium,
Sandstorm going in
that
place at
stadium
night?
is different at night.
It's going to be tough.
I know there's a lot of stadiums that are. That one in particular, though,
Yeah, I think that's, besides the Georgia game, I think that's probably the toughest game on Alabama's schedule, going to South Carolina right now.
Is Sandstorm one of the most annoying things you hear at an SEC stadium?
I like it.
I like it too.
Yes.
I know a lot of people that hate it.
Oh.
I like it.
What do you like about it?
I don't know, just like the techno.
And like when you're in that environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
LED lights,
Yeah.
wasted out of your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You youngins.
Like how both of them said, yeah.
I'm like you, Pat. Makes my head hurt. I just want to go home and watch a program and go to bed. It's fine. It gets those people rowdy at Williams-Brice.
There it is. Nothing screams college football like Sandstorm.
This sounds like this would be the opening to Body by Jake.
See, I was about to say, yeah, if you played this when I walked into like an Aeropostale, I would totally.
Today we're
going
to circuit train. Grab your mats. Let's go.
See, how's it not, just get you pumped up.
I like it.
Lunge in 3, 4.
It is fitting.
Burpees.
It kind of reminds me of like the Crazy Frog song a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of fun.
A little bit.
That's from a Finnish group, right?
I'm assuming that Darude is, yeah.
Scandinavian,
Something like that.
Swedish, Finnish, something like that.
Darude. Maybe you can find that one. I'm not.
I don't know.
They're Finnish.
They're Finnish.
The frog song?
Yeah, the Crazy Frog song. Yeah. It's the
Oh, you don't know that one?
It's the Axel F.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know titles. I don't know groups. If you play it, I'll tell you if I've heard it before.
You
The theme from Beverly Hills Cop
Yeah.
by Axel
Oh yeah.
F.
Yeah.
They redid it,
Mhm.
and it was Crazy Frog.
Okay.
Yeah. You used to do jazzercise to this, remember?
I mean, it's no sandstorm, but it's something.
Would you be okay if they played at Alabama kickoff?
Absolutely not. It's embarrassing.
It's a baby song.
Well, yeah, it's for kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the point.
yeah, don't play the other one. The shark song.
Do you
Baby
remember
Shark.
Conrad, do you remember the Gummy Bear song?
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
remember the Gummy Bear song.
That was another one.
Don't look at me.
You guys don't know that?
No.
Oh.
No.
Never mind.
Is that something they would play at the raves you go to
In Des Moines.
after you got off your shift at the liquor store?
No, this was like when I was 4.
Oh,
So
Oh.
not quite.
okay. You were still innocent back
Yes.
then.
I mean, you started at the liquor store at like 9, didn't you?
Well, yeah. I'm not allowed to talk about that though.
Child labor laws in Tennessee. I'm my backyard, Landrum. I was like, I need to get back out there again. I mean, I really don't need to because my Artec tractor, my Toro Zero Turn that I got from Artec Tractor has been just phenomenal.
You changed the oil yet?
Not yet. Probably need to, just because I want to make sure
You've
that
been
it's,
using it a lot.
I mean, it's good cutting.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
Keep that blade sharp.
I didn't want to go to no big box store. Artec Tractor has been a great sponsor here at Jox for a number of years. And so I gave Jeremy a call and I said, hey, listen, I'm in the market. And they said, hey, we got you good to go. We got all sorts of options here. And so the best thing I love about Artec Tractor is that they're locally owned. They have the mowers, they have the tractors, whether it's Toro, Cub Cadet, Gravely, Bobcat, Spartan, residential to commercial grade. More brands and better selection than literally a big box store that is less than 2 minutes from my house. I'm talking about tractor brands like Mahindra, Bobcat, everything a large home acreage, small homesteads, large farms. If you have a hunting plot that needs to be cut, they've got all sorts of these options. Best part about it is that when I called Jeremy, he's knowledgeable. The sales department there is outstanding. Expert guys in the not only the service department, but they're that can work on your machinery as well to keep it up to date. So large selection of heavy equipment. And for guys like me that just need a zero turn, they can hook you up. Just north of Jasper, Highway 5. That's artectractor.com.
Recruiting may be heating up for the Auburn Tigers. The latest commitment, we'll tell you who it is and where he's from next on Three Man Front.
That's what happens when you put the kids in charge of the music on this radio show. 1-800-239-WJOX, 205-834-9450. If you're looking for a pontoon boat this summer, Poorhouse Branch Marine at Smith Lake is the only dealer on the lake to have Avalon pontoons. Avalon pontoons are known for the luxury, comfort, and performance, and pair it with the most fuel-efficient engine on the water from Honda Marine. Poorhouse Branch Marine at Smith Lake also has Tahoe pontoons ready for family fun. Get it today with their in-house financing. See it all at PoorhouseBranchMarina.com.
A lot of interaction, as always, on the Jox text line, 205-834-9450. That's the best way to get in touch with us, whether it was best 25 college football players over the last 25 years. A lot of responses to that, and the lack of Alabama representation, to songs, to well, there's just a lot here. We'll take you there now. Brandon in Rome, Georgia, thanks for listening on the Jox app, says Alabama plays FSU in Wisconsin, and neither of those games are a night game. College football games on for 3 solid nights, and we get stuck with a 3 p.m. or earlier start time, ? I get a noon kick when we're in Wisconsin, but not T-Town. We got crapped on. Some Badger fans may need emergency medical services with that heat.
Alabama brand just isn't as big as it used to be, Landrum. Not getting those primetime games anymore.
No disrespect, Brandon, but it gets hot up there too. There's humidity up there. Ask the folks in Minnesota. Now, with pride, I say nobody has the heat like we do.
No, they do not.
It'll be tough on all. Mike in Huntsville, back to the list, says, what about Jonathan Allen and countless others?
That'd be a good one. I think for the where we looked at the most versatile players, I think Javier Arenas would be a name that some people would probably want to throw out there too.
Carson from Madison, thanks for listening. North Alabama. I'm guessing that's North Alabama. Got to read it, guys. Aaron Hernandez deserves consideration. He absolutely killed it. Next one. Put some respect on Will Anderson. Anybody that comes close to Derek Thomas's single-season sack record should absolutely be on the list. Easy one of the Alabama best defenders. These lists just show hatred for the SEC, says one of our listeners. No Todd Gurley, no Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb was on one of our lists. This is not just SEC, it's top college football players in the last 25 years. So I'm not defending the people who put together these lists, but there's a lot of running backs that should be considered, but they can't just go offensive players. They got to spread the wealth. FYI guy again. He said, how are you forgetting about Mark Ingram? Conrad?
Mark Ingram is a great player. I do not think he's one of the 25 best players of the last century. Good player, though.
Says these people who make these lists must be on the FBS selection committee. No criteria. That's good. This listener says, I went to Ole Miss and South Carolina game last year, but I'm a Bama fan. My sister's a Reb grad, and they are mean. We saw 9 different times beer being thrown down on the Ole Miss fan sections in front of cops and them do nothing. I thought it was hilarious, but I was suffering through watching Bama versus Vandy on my phone. That was a tough day for you. Steven chimes in, says, listening to y'all while at PCB. Oh, man.
Looks like a beautiful day at the beach.
Yeah, it does. What is that very large silhouette there near the second sandbar? Uh-oh.
That'd be a shark.
Mm-hmm. Somebody asking crab rave next? Are we doing a request yet?
What is that?
So that's one that I think it's a newer one.
Oh, it's a song?
Yes. And when I taught dance, they always wanted me to play that. It's kind of like a gummy bear, like one of those. Yeah.
This one from one of our friends in Montgomery saying Conrad needs to go to Def Leppard show tonight. File a report. Conrad's concerts. Well, he's going to be busy. We got the NBA draft party at the Edge.
I heard the Dave Matthews Band concert at the new amphitheater was outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I like Def Leppard. That'd be cool. But we're going to be at the Edge in Homewood tonight.
Oh, back to the, I guess he's referencing the crab rave. He said, "Oh, that's my jam. My 2-year-old knows how to work listening device name. I won't say it, so all of you won't have alerts. And now I get to listen to the Gummy Bears song on repeat."
The crab song is definitely better than the Gummy Bears song.
Yes.
Tim Tebow had the best career. Joe Burrow had the best season. Cam was Tebow's backup and shouldn't be ahead of him when he only played 1 season of college ball. Okay, well, Collins.
Well, see, I would say the same thing about Joe Burrow, though. He played multiple years of college football, but he wasn't good until his last year.
We're going to give him, 2 years at LSU, right? You had the Cam Cameron offense.
And, I mean, he was okay
was Cam Cameron
year.
still there? But then the next year when they got...
Yeah, and when Joe Brady came in and overhauled the offense, that was it, yeah.
Ask any Georgia fan, and Stetson Bennett should be on that list. I roll.
Probably go with somebody on the defensive side of the ball from those teams.
Somebody throwing out, I think maybe they heard the wrong list, but this is from the last 25 years. That's why Herschel Walker is not on the list.
Oh, yeah, if you missed that part, you'd probably be really up in arms about this list if you had missed that.
Yeah, no Bo Jackson, no Herschel Walker.
People are like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Keep the text rolling in, 205-834-9450.
Tomorrow on the show, Rodney Orr will be one of our guests. And every year about this time, right around 4th of July, he sends out his Firecracker 5. And Conrad, I know you have the list in front of you that he just released a few moments ago on TiderInsider.com. And we will get into full details with him tomorrow about each one of these guys. It's kind of customary. Landrum and I have been talking to Rodney the last couple of years on this show, and he, brings up this Firecracker 5 that he talks about. But who are the 5 that he has listed for those that follow Alabama in recruiting? Yeah,
so a lot of these are going to be familiar names if you're an Alabama fan, or just some of them in-state kids. So we'll start off with the 5-star running back. That is Xavier Crowell. We've heard about him for quite some time. So he is on there, and he's actually going to make his commitment tomorrow. So we will hopefully get that while we are on.
Do we know what time
tomorrow.
that he's going to make that commitment?
It doesn't say right here, but we can. I'm sure Rodney knows.
Okay.
So that's one, Xavier Crowell, the running back. Then you have 5-star linebacker Xavier Griffin, who had decommitted from USC. He has been trending towards Alabama for some time now. You also have 3-star wide receiver Brian Williams, not Ryan Williams, Brian Williams. So he's a 6'3", 185-pound kid, and he is going to announce his decision on July 1st. So that one's coming next week. Next, you have 5-star receiver Cedarian Morgan, another guy that was in Tuscaloosa over the weekend, and he will be announcing his decision next week. And a lot of people think it's between Alabama and Auburn for him. And then the last guy is Jira Edwards, a 5-star safety, who it looks like it's Alabama, Auburn, and Georgia.
A lot of 5 stars.
Morgan's a kid from Ben Russell. I got to see him play last year. And, yeah, he looks like he already should be playing college football. Very talented guy.
And if you follow this recruiting stuff, these are all guys that you will have seen, when you see the experts put in, my crystal ball is telling me these guys are going here. All of them have been predicted by various people to Alabama. So, looking good.
So what do you think Bama will end up with those 5?
You mean with the overall recruiting ranking? Or
No,
do I think I'll get them? The only one... Crowell would maybe, just because you did get that flip of the 4-star running back from Illinois, maybe that scares him off a little bit. But, I mean, everything that I've been reading and everything that I've talked to people about with these guys is they are very confident that Alabama is going to land them. So,
Well, might have second thoughts because if you go to Alabama, you're probably not going to make one of these lists.
So Alabama currently
That's a good
right
point.
now, according to 247, is 33rd in recruiting.
but if this pans out, I mean, that was 4
No, there's
5-star guys
yeah,
right
there's
there.
a lot of 5 stars. That's right there.
33rd?
33rd
Oh,
for the 2026 class.
Conrad?
Meanwhile,
Well, we're still recruiting in the States. We haven't gone to New Zealand yet. So
meanwhile, after Auburn's commitment from New Zealand, Auburn is 83rd.
There you go. Top 100.
that's right, Legend. That's what you're always striving for.
What is that? 5 commitments, 6 commitments now?
The Idaho Vandals has a better recruiting class than the Auburn Tigers currently.
If I'm not mistaken, the only, and it may have changed now, they may be in last, but as of yesterday, Missouri was the only SEC team behind Auburn.
Well, let me take a gander, and I will tell you. No, Missouri's now ahead of Auburn.
Okay, so
'Cause
they
actually,
were in last now.
Mizzou got a big commitment this morning. There was a 4-star
Okay.
that committed to Mizzou. So yeah, Mizzou's now 81st. Idaho's 82. Auburn is 83rd.
Who's 84?
You want to know 84?
What if the College Sports Commission every now and then they could do this and they came in and they said, all right, freeze your class. That's the only guys you can take.
Please
Boom.
tell me 84 is like Hawaii or something.
South Alabama.
Yeah, there's a long time till December. It'll change.
Nebraska is 79th. Nebraska has a better recruiting class than Auburn.
Top
currently.
80, Molly.
Ooh.
Some people can't say that.
Nebraska has
That's true.
8 commitments, no 5 stars, 1 4-star, and 7 3-stars.
A lot of time left.
Is that composite or is that just one recruiting service?
No, that is 247.
Oh. I thought I saw a couple more 4-stars from another one, Molly.
Thanks, Landrum.
It was GoBigRedRecruiting.com.
Is that a site?
That's where I get all my information from.
Yeah, I know.
Because according to this right now, Bama's got 10 commitments, 1 5-star, 6 4-stars, and 3 3-stars. So if they
And a walk-on long snapper, Pat.
is he even like
I don't think they have stars. I don't know how that works, honestly.
like most kickers don't have stars either.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
We're going to do some Pat Ponders when we come back. I know a lot of people in the 12 o'clock hour don't get an opportunity, maybe because of your schedule. We're going to do that next on this lunch hour. This is Jox 94.5. It's 12:34. Jox, welcome back. This is Three Man Front. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll talk to the head basketball coach of the Birmingham Squadron. Big night tonight as the Pelicans will have the 7th and the 26th pick in the NBA draft. So we'll talk to him about that tonight, and he will be there on site with us this evening as we get ready for the NBA draft. We typically do this in the 4th hour of the show. I know a lot of people have texted in and they've asked me, hey, is there any chance you could, do it earlier sometimes? And absolutely, because it's not a set time. So we thought we would do this today in the 12 o'clock hour. This is what we call Pat Ponders, brought to you by Courtesy GMC.
I want to know what you're thinking. Tell me what's on your mind.
It's time for Pat Ponders.
Brought to you by Courtesy GMC and Trustful. Get by and see those fine folks at Courtesy GMC. Best deals you're going to find anywhere on a brand new Courtesy GMC vehicle right off of I-459 exit 32 in Trustful. Question number 1. Is it weird to y'all that Aaron Rodgers has yet to reveal the identity of his new wife?
Yes. I know that some guys are private. I know that Tua is very private with his relationship, his wife, his family. But yeah, I find it odd for somebody who seems like goes out of his way to be in the spotlight at times that he has not revealed who it is. Now I'm starting to wonder, is it a human?
That's actually a great question.
That is a good question.
And I don't think
He's a weird guy.
He is.
That guy over in Russia had the blow up doll. Not saying it's a blow up doll. I'm just saying
Yeah.
Is this a spirit that he says that he sees when he's eating the mushrooms and pooping in dark places?
Maybe so. Maybe it's the sister of Manti Te'o's girlfriend. And that's
They went on a double date.
Yeah, that's how they met.
Yeah.
For somebody that's as famous as he is, yes, it's bizarre, but at the same time, with him being who he is, it's just
kind of fits his.
Yeah, because in the past, like when it's Danica Patrick or Shailene Woodley or some of those, I mean, those are people that they're famous in and of their own right. So you're gonna see them out in public just because of the nature of their business as well. So yeah, it doesn't strike me as that odd. It's Aaron Rodgers. Nothing he can really do is that weird. I feel like it's just him.
I was going that route too because you look at his past relationships and they've all been, models or actresses or other people or Danica Patrick, like all other people that have been in the spotlight. And again, it's Aaron Rodgers. Like, are we really shocked by anything that he does ever? So I don't know. Maybe like for this girlfriend, he does want to keep it a little bit more private, especially with, I don't know, everything going on.
Well, and it's his last year. Maybe he's just like, let me just, handle my business for a year and then sail off into the darkness.
He has said that she's not a public figure. She's not on social media. And she wants it to be private. I can respect that.
So, you don't know her. She goes to a different school. Is that what he tells all his teammates? You don't know her. Just thinking of all the, the excuses you would make when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you don't know her. Yeah, she goes to a different school. That's why you haven't met her yet.
Question number 2.
Maybe only he can see her.
Maybe so.
What current college football head coach do you believe will be the next to be given a chance to run an NFL team?
Well, okay. The cheap, easy answer maybe would be like Bill Belichick, but I'm not gonna take that answer. I'll say Kirby. I still think Kirby, and not that he would take the opportunity, but that someone else would offer it to him.
Kirby's a good answer. I was thinking Marcus Freeman.
That's
a really good answer.
It's a good one.
Man.
It's just funny because a couple years ago, I mean, Lincoln Riley would have been far and away like the shoe-in pick for this, and not anymore.
No. Those are the two best answers. Sark.
I could certainly see he's another, and I get it, right? He coaches at Texas, but he feels like he would kind of fit what Jerry Jones would want. Like I could see that.
And he's also worked at the NFL level.
Yeah.
All good choices. Speaking of coaches, question number 3. I'm going to give you 3 options. Who wins the most games this season at their new school? Rich Rodriguez at West Virginia, Barry Odom at Purdue, Dan Mullen at UNLV. Which one of those 3 will win the most games this season at their new school?
Definitely not going Barry Odom at Purdue. Definitely not taking that one. I think UNLV, and it's just, again, they were really good last year. They're
The
going to have
conference
an
they play in.
they're going to have an easier path, and I think Dan Mullen, again, he's a good coach. He didn't want to recruit, but he's a good coach. So yeah, I'll go Dan at UNLV.
But if you take out UNLV, who would it be? If you take out Dan Mullen,
Then it would be Rich Rod.
I'm going.
Yeah,
I would,
Absolutely not
Barry
Purdue.
Odom. No.
No.
I'd pick Dan Mullen.
but I don't put it past Dan Mullen to screw this thing up at UNLV.
I mean, yeah.
That's fair.
Rich Rod seems like maybe the safe rank. Like if you just want somebody that's going to go 7-5 for you, Rich Rod's your answer. But yeah, Barry Odom no.
Question number 4. Have you ever used a fake name at a bar?
Of course. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what the name was. My younger years.
Why did you use the fake name?
Probably because it was loud, and saying my real name, I'd have to repeat it or they'd just get it wrong.
So you said, my name's Bill.
It wasn't Bill. Nothing against anybody named Bill, but it wasn't Bill.
I was just thinking of a 1-syllable name.
Yeah.
My name was Jacob sometimes because that's what my fake ID said, so it was probably good to.
Oh, very good.
So that's where I was getting at.
I
Probably
think
good to
Like,
go.
why would you use? Yeah.
I think I went.
good.
I think I went with the name Jackson. Actually,
Yeah, I didn't get to pick mine, unfortunately. It just was what it was. But it worked. Never got caught.
How about you, Molly?
Yeah, there was one time in high school, I was visiting my cousin who went to Alabama. And I was young and I didn't have a fake or anything, so I had to use a fake name.
Do you remember what it was?
Did you get in?
I think it was like Emma.
Maggie Papa Giorgio.
Yeah. I did get in.
Yeah, down there it was. Let's just say you had to try to get caught with those things down there if they were going to catch you. Like, I mean, it would have had to been a piece of paper with the name scribbled on it.
My name is Dexter.
They were not taking a long look at those things.
All right, final question of the day.
Whoa, you?
No.
You never had a fake ID?
No.
Right.
I didn't either.
I did not.
He always looked older than his age.
Yeah, you can tell now. I look real old.
No, he's like Benjamin Button. You're getting younger.
Going the opposite way.
Hmm.
All right, here's the 5th and final question of the day. For $10,000.
Yes.
Tax free.
All right, so you said yes. So I'm not taking another answer from you. I'm not even going to finish the question. Conrad,
Oh, no.
Conrad is a yes.
He's a yes, but I would like the question.
Yeah, me
okay,
too.
I will finish the question.
$10,000 is a lot of money.
$10,000.
It's gonna hurt. You're gonna
Oh,
walk
no,
weird.
I'm so excited.
Would you use a total stranger's toothbrush for 30 seconds?
Oh, for 10, I'd do that for $100.
What is wrong with you?
What?
You wouldn't do that for $100?
No.
So if I go down here on Green Springs and I grab one of these homeless dudes on the corner.
No.
No. This is your next challenge.
No, you have agreed to it.
You already said yes.
You are so gross.
I was offering $10,000 for you to do it. A total stranger to use the toothbrush for 30 seconds. And you said, I'd do it for $100.
Well, I'm thinking like, one of my friends' toothbrushes or something. Somebody that I know.
No. Total stranger.
And still at that point, that's gross.
That's disgusting.
$100, man.
I'm getting people texting me right now telling me they will bring their toothbrush up there to watch you do this.
There's no telling what they're doing to that toothbrush, too.
Yeah.
Can I put toothpaste on the toothbrush?
Sure.
Then what?
Yeah.
Oh, like that's going to disinfect it from some homeless dude?
What are you so worried about?
I'm not worried at all because I wouldn't do it.
Homeless or with a home or wealthy, I don't
Anyone.
care. I don't want
No.
anybody else's toothbrush in my mouth.
Ugh.
So for $100, Conrad, that's his next challenge. That's what he's going to do for 30 seconds. He's going to take a total stranger's toothbrush and use it for 30 seconds. Paige will never kiss you again.
That's toothbrush. I can do a lot with it. I clean my fingernails, my toenails.
Yeah, I may have overplayed my hand on this one.
Boy, you were so quick for that $10,000.
I would absolutely do that for $10,000.
And then you undercut yourself and you said you would do it for $100.
Yeah.
That's an easy. Yeah, that we're making that happen.
Okay, but back to you wouldn't do that for, not talking about $100, for $10,000, you would not do that.
Absolutely not.
No. I would not.
I thought it was going to be something way worse than that.
And there's some crazy things that I would do for $10,000, but I couldn't do that.
$30 seconds. Total stranger's toothbrush. Conrad's all in for $100. This is going to be epic.
So gross.
Yeah, there's something I did one time for $20 that you would not be proud of.
Well, now I want to know what it is.
I'm not going to share that. I'm not going to share that.
That's today's Pat Ponders, brought to you by Courtesy GMC and Trustful.
I have to ask it. Did it involve a department store?
No. Nope. It was at a lake.
Okay.
Was it at band camp?
No, it was not.
More three-man front. This is Jox. Oh, the text messages we're getting on the courtesy GMC text line. So for $100, Conrad will use a total stranger's toothbrush for 30 seconds.
What are some of the other disgusting things that Conrad would do for $100? We thought $10,000 was kind of the sweet spot, but he said, no, $100. Would you,
Well, I told you what I did for $20. So you
I
can
know.
kind of use
So
that as
the
a
answer to my
jumping-off
question
point
is
for-
yes, you would do that.
Yeah, probably.
Like if there was a person that walked around with just bare feet,
Okay.
would you suck on their big toe?
No, I'm not. No.
What
no.
in the world? Where'd that come from?
We're getting into a different category now. No.
He's looking for models on his website.
I know. I know.
I love how you guys think that that's just crazy, given that you just said, in case you missed it. Pat asked, would you use a random stranger person's toothbrush for 30 seconds for $10,000? And Conrad said, well, first, before Pat even finished the question, he said, I'll do it. Then he said he'd do that for $100. So
I overplayed my hand a little bit. I was thinking I got to pick.
No.
Like somebody that
No.
is clean.
No.
Preferably clean.
Why would somebody give you $10,000 to let you use?
I got news
someone
for
that's
you.
got perfect
Nobody's
hygiene?
mouth
I don't
is,
know.
quote, clean,
Well, yes.
but some are worse than others, I would
Exactly.
assume.
Exactly.
Oh,
Well, and
text-
how old is the toothbrush, right? Because, there's some people out there that are like, oh,
No.
man, I haven't got a new toothbrush in 6 months.
No. See,
Like, that's a
that's your problem with opening your mouth before you let me finish the question, because you don't get the right to all of a sudden change the rules of what we're going to do and make you do.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be one of those like, oh, you get $10,000, but you have to chop off your left arm or something like that. I'd have to think about.
I've used a toothbrush to clean grout lines.
Hey, listen, we have an opportunity tonight for those that are coming to the remote. If you want to,
Bring your toothbrush.
bring your toothbrush and we'll pick one out and we'll set the timer and I'll give them $100.
Preferably if you struggle with halitosis,
Yeah.
which is a real condition. And God bless you, but bring your toothbrush.
Oh, my wife's going to be so mad at me later.
So instead of people like bringing canned goods to like those underprivileged, people just bringing toothbrushes tonight that they're trying to get rid of so that Conrad could swab his mouth with them.
205-834-9450. Very colorful reaction to what Conrad just told us. We take you to the text line now. Casey asked Conrad, what do you do for $1 million? Well, Casey, let your imagination go wild.
Literally anything for $1 million.
Conrad needs
Outside of murder, we're not doing that.
Conrad needs a mental examination after that. My goodness, that's gross.
Wait, did you just say for $1 million you would do anything?
He said
Outside
anything.
of murder.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
Not breaking the law.
Yeah, nothing
Yes.
criminal. I mean,
Posey says, tell
can't
me
really
you're
think of
from...
anything I wouldn't do.
He says, tell me you're from Hayden without telling me you're from Hayden. LOL.
Yeah, and proud of it.
You guys, you guys act like you've never made out with a stranger. Conrad is the
Thank
same
you.
one here.
Thank you.
Ugh.
Now, granted, I've never made out with a homeless person before, so that maybe would be different. But since that's where you're getting my toothbrush from, apparently.
Jonathan says that's disgusting. I don't care who it is. I'm not using somebody else's toothbrush for any amount of money. Thank you. I wouldn't use my wife's toothbrush for $10,000. LOL.
See, that was my next question. So would you use your wife's toothbrush for $100?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. See, I think that's an easy one.
But Paige is not volunteering her toothbrush
No.
for this assignment.
No, I don't think so.
Jake says y'all are nuts for not doing that for $10,000. Y'all must be rich. No, just wouldn't do it. Mike says I do it for 3 minutes for $10,000.
I'm right there with you.
You can tell who has money and who doesn't. Hashtag toothbrush. That's not the point here. My wife and I share the Sonicare in the shower every day.
That's nice.
That is nice. And Fat Joe says, yes, I've used my fake name. I used to always be Jimmy Dean. And Conrad, you and I agree again. I would do that. Ain't no big deal. Just rent.
$10,000 is a lot of money for 30 seconds of work.
I once paid one of my friends $20 to drink the chocolate milk rinse sink from the lunch line after you left your tray. Oh,
It's kind of like what I did for $20.
One o'clock, 3-man fronts. Landrum, Pat, Molly, Conrad. I had a loaded up 12 o'clock hour. Pat Ponders spawned a lot of reaction on the Jox text line. Conrad agreeing for $10,000 or even $100 that he would use a random person's toothbrush for 30 seconds. A lot of reaction to that. We do have TJ Saint. He's going to be on shortly, Birmingham Squadron head coach. We're going to be a part of a great event tonight, Pat. There at the Edge, if you haven't tried it, we talk about it from time to time with our friends at 18 South, but I know you and Molly did a show there back in April when I was out in San Antonio at the Final Four. But a wonderful place to...
It's a cool venue.
It is, and we're going to be there. We're going to be watching the NBA draft, but also you got a golf simulator. You're going to have other things. You can meet the coach. You can meet all the great merchants there, including our friend Patrick there at 18 South, but food, drinks, golf simulator. It's going to be there 6:30 tonight at the Edge there in Homewood, right there off of Green Springs Highway. So we hope to see you there.
Yeah, and one of the people that's going to be there tonight and joining us on the Higginbotham hotline is the head coach of the Birmingham Squadron for the last few years, and it's TJ Saint. He joins us now on Three Man Front. Coach, I hope you're doing well. This is like Christmas morning, right? Getting ready for the NBA draft this evening.
Yeah, something like that. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you joining us, Coach. I do have to ask, I know that at the front office, they're usually pretty tight-lipped. We can use NBA mock draft lists, but how much intel, how many conversations are you having with management as when it comes to particular players and maybe slotting and how they fit?
Yeah, not a lot, to be honest, in the G League. The things that myself and our G League GM, Adam Barnes, target are the players who are not going to be drafted. So at the top of the draft and even into the second round, those guys can be drafted by the NBA team and then assigned to the G League. But we really are trying to look at guys who we're going to give Exhibit 10 contracts to. So we get 10 roster spots of our own here in Birmingham.
So, Coach, that was going to be my next question, kind of piggybacking that answer, is that can you take us through the process? Because with the NBA having 2 rounds of the draft and those that do not hear their name called, or heck, even if you're a second rounder and you get your name called, just take us through the process of how someone ends up with a G League contract and potentially playing here in Birmingham.
Yeah, so as soon as the draft is over, honestly, the next year kind of starts. So the front office has been out watching college games in Europe the entire season. After our G League season and NBA season, I kind of get caught up to speed, and we go out and start scouting in Portsmouth, Virginia. There's an event out there that's been there for a long time. Interview different players, kind of get to know them, see their skill set, watch them play in a camp. And then we all, 3 weeks or so later, go to Chicago for the combine. And there's a G League combine prior to that. So it's the same type of thing. It's a little bit higher level. You watch guys play games. You watch them do skills events. You interview them to try to get to know them. And then the process kind of unfolds of like figuring out which guys are actually going to be taken versus which guys who might be taken in the second round who then become two-ways. And if you're not taken, then you can start divvying out Exhibit 10 contracts where you can pay a prospect up to $75K extra on top of the G League standard contract. So it's kind of a long process, but again, in the G League from a scouting perspective, we're looking towards the end of the second round for the guys who are not going to be drafted who will play for us.
TJ, if you could, without getting too much in the weeds for us and our listeners, but what in particular are some of those skills and different traits that you yourself are looking for when you're looking at potential members and who you guys could draft there to the Birmingham Squadron?
Yeah, simply put, the G League in general is a place to develop the players in the NBA. So the guys that we surround, whoever the Pelicans decide to send to us from their roster, is of paramount importance. So we're looking for dogs, guys who are very, very fierce, kind of have intrinsic motivation, can play hard on their own. And then personally for me, I'm looking for IQ, 3-point shooting, and being able to pass. I think the number one thing our program and myself and what I try to coach the most is shot selection. So all those skills kind of myriad together to make it a lot better. And the thing about it is we're trying to get guys in our program to fill a role in the NBA. So they have to be able to make wide open shots, have to be able to rebound consistently, play without fouling, do all the little detail things over and over again. And you get a lot of that with intrinsic motivation overall.
Talking to TJ Saint, he's the head basketball coach of the Birmingham Squadron. As we're previewing tonight's NBA draft, combined CS will be at the Edge Shopping Center in Homewood tonight as the first and second round of the draft will begin this evening. Okay, Coach, you had a successful career in the college realm. You've been at the NBA level. You're at the G League level now as the head coach. Just kind of compare and contrast how your days back in college, how that has been able to get you to the point to where you are currently in your career. Is there much of a difference between that college and that professional game currently?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of difference. Back when I was doing it in college, so I was at Butler from 11 to 14, and then I was at Georgia from 18 to 19. Part of the day-to-day is the reason I wanted to get to the pro level or get back to the pro level in a different case. At the pro level, it's exclusively coaching. It's all basketball. Obviously, at the college level, especially back then, you were recruiting 24/7, 365. Ironically, now with the NIL kind of thing happening, the method of it in college is exactly kind of how the G League has always been. You're allowed to pay players. Everything's kind of on a one-year deal, and your roster turns over a lot. So a lot of my friends actually in college are experiencing kind of what the pro G League level has been like. But day to day, it's a lot different. We basically show up in pro basketball, meet, watch film, do some player development, practice, and then you're kind of free to go on your own. Whereas in college, the recruiting never stops.
Throughout your career path and this journey to where you are now, TJ, what's the best piece of advice you've been given that you apply almost daily in not only your professional life but also your personal life?
Yeah, I'd probably go back. One of my biggest influences or influencers was Brad Stevens. I was a GA for him when he was the head coach at Butler. And he told me something. He told me a bunch of things, honestly, but one that really stuck with me is people do not attract that which they want. People attract that which they are. And he just basically told me to be the person that you need to be, and everything else will fall in line. So just trying to do your job daily, maximize where you're at, don't get too far ahead, and just be the best version of yourself no matter where you go. And it's kind of led to a very circuitous path for me, but one that I'm very thankful for, and having to go through the fire in certain instances, and then really learning how to cut my teeth and coach at a high level in the G League, and then being very lucky to get the head coaching job a few years ago. And I've just learned a lot, not just on the X's and O's side, but managing people, understanding organizational philosophy, and working with an NBA team has just been kind of a dream come true. And I'm really excited to get year 4 going in Birmingham.
You know, Coach, we have these conversations at times with the manager of the Birmingham Barons because obviously the roster churn, that's a real situation. Yeah. That's what you have to deal with in the G League. Just kind of talk about that and how you go about having to be able to obviously try to develop these young men, but always have that constant maybe in the back of your mind knowing that this player might not be here that long. Like, how do you put a little bit of consistency to a franchise knowing that roster is going to be changed a lot?
Yeah, you can't really prepare for it. You literally, and one of the phrases we use is just run your daily race. We try to just run our daily race in Birmingham, just get better each day. I mean, we were on like a 2 or 3 game winning streak last year and had a really good shoot around. I was excited to try to get 4 in a row. And then Elfrid Payton got called up by the Charlotte Hornets, who was our starting point guard at the time. And there's no way to really replace him. You just kind of have to go with the flow. But obviously that's great for him to get an opportunity, you know, back in the NBA where he's been out of it for 2 years. But it's kind of the environment that we're used to, and you just do your best every day. And I would say on the developmental side, you're going to have 10 to 12 players. You need to always be keeping in mind that 10, 11, and 12 need reps in practice. You need to throw them in different situations in games, and sometimes you need to play 10 or 11 in a game so they are ready for those moments if somebody gets called up. And we've had a lot of success in that. I think we had 7 call-ups last year and 6 the year before. So the roster change is super dynamic. Any team in the NBA can take any of our 10 G League roster players. You just kind of have to be ready for it, but it helps you adjust as a coach, and your coaching staff is always throwing out ideas. But overall, that kind of means your game plans have to be pretty simple for new players coming in. But it's a lot of fun, but it's a great challenge.
Coach, in regards to the way the game has changed, and back when you were at Georgia about 6-7 years ago, analytics, like how much more do you guys utilize analytics, or has that always been something in your portfolio, even back to your Butler days, that you utilize as you were coaching these guys at the Birmingham Squadron?
Yeah, I've always kind of used it. Obviously, it's got more advanced. The computer processing power and the AI have gotten infinitely better. I think the things that I've started to really learn, especially after being a head coach, is figuring out which piece of the pie with your team is the biggest and the couple biggest, and really hammering those. And you kind of have to find that through 5 to 10 games in your season, but you don't want to overload the players, but really micro, scrutiny on certain things to try to find specialized analytics that really determine winning and losing, or the metrics of an individual player where they're struggling or getting better, trying to really adhere those into the game plan. But it's more of just focusing on the few little ones that make a difference versus the broad.
Coach, we really look forward to meeting you in person tonight for the event. It's at the Edge. We're giving out details, but there's going to be all kinds of stuff for this draft watch party, including all kinds of prizes. Got a hole-in-one contest, also a guess the pick contest. Yeah, Q&A with you. Hopefully you knew about that, but also food and drink specials there at the Edge. And there's all kinds of Squadron gear and gift cards there at 18 South and many of the other retailers. Coach, it's going to be a fun night. Should have good weather, and can't wait to meet you and hang out with a lot of our great listeners and Squadron fans.
Yeah, look forward to it. It's going to be really hot, so everybody wears shorts. But I'm excited to get out there and meet some of the fans and meet you guys.
All right, Coach, we appreciate it. We'll see you a little bit later on.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you. That is TJ Saint, the head coach of the Birmingham Squadron. Again, tonight at the Edge, 6 o'clock, the event officially gets underway. We're going to be there at 6:30, but all kinds of different things that you can enjoy and win. And it's a family event. So come out, and as he said, it's going to be a little warm, so you might want to wear the shorts.
Absolutely. Some of you that are homeowners out there, you might be noticing that your home's been developing some cracks around your foundation. The doors and windows just won't close right. You can't ignore it because those issues are going to get worse over time. So that's why you need to call Alabama Professional Services, 205-951-9717, or go to their website, alabamaprofessional.com. Trust me, you'll be glad you did, because one of the trained professionals at APS, they're a locally owned company. They're going to be able to come out and they're going to give you a plan and describe what they can do to seal up your foundation. Make sure that those cracks do not get bigger. They take care of those. They level things up, even with your driveway or sidewalk. They can do all that with the poly-level system. So call them today. The number is 205-951-9717. That's alabamaprofessional.com.
What would you be willing to do for $10,000, even $100? Conrad will tell you next on Three Man Front. What will Conrad do for $10,000? The answer may surprise you. Actually, it would surprise you that he doubled down and said he would do it for $100. That comes your way next here on Three Man Front.
Well, Diamonds Direct, they really live up to their name because there's no middleman, there's no runaround, just incredible diamonds straight from the source. And the price, honestly, way more reasonable than I expected. You get exactly what you want, and you don't have to empty your savings account to do it. The place is absolutely stunning. It's clean, modern, and bright. Everything sparkles, and it's not just the jewelry. The staff, they treat you like a VIP. And right now, there's a pretty amazing deal going on. If you buy an engagement ring, you get the wedding band for free. So seriously, if you're thinking about getting engaged, now is the time to do it because you get a free wedding band. So that's Diamonds Direct with no extra layers, no nonsense, just quality diamonds.
It was interesting. I was looking at some television ratings for the NBA Finals. 16.4 million viewers tuned in for Game 7 of Oklahoma City versus Indiana, but that was not the most watched basketball game of this previous season. The national championship game between Houston and Florida was the most watched. That's pretty amazing. When the college national championship game eclipses a Game 7 for the NBA championship. Now, I know that Indianapolis and Oklahoma City is not two of the larger markets for, obviously, in the country for television viewing, but number one was Houston versus Florida. Oklahoma City, Indiana was number 2. Duke and Houston was the 3rd most watched. Auburn, Florida was the 4th most watched basketball game in 2025, followed then by Michigan State and Auburn in the NCAA tournament. Illinois and Kentucky was number 6. Bama and Duke was number 7 in the NCAA tournament. And then number 8, 9, and 10 was the NBA Finals. So pretty strong when you start talking about the type of audience that the college basketball world can bring. Another reason why the tournament will expand to 76 teams probably within the next month or two when that official announcement makes it so. But Houston and Florida, the most watched basketball game, 18.1 million people tuned in.
We saw the live shot of the OKC victory parade celebration yesterday. Did that thing end up filling out? Were we just getting a bad overhead shot of one section of downtown?
I think it did fill in some. I know that they were expecting about 500,000 people.
That's what the Oklahoma Voice was reporting. Around 500,000 people attended.
But the helicopter shots that you and I were watching yesterday as the parade was getting ready, it most definitely did not look like 500,000 people.
And one thing I can tell you from Oklahoma City, I know this just from stuff that I had to have for a broadcast. I think Jacksonville is the most landmass for a city.
Largest.
And I think Oklahoma City is second. It's in the top 5. But also the shopping cart or buggy came from Oklahoma City.
I mean, think about this too. So
I like those.
Oklahoma City is basically the same metro population as Birmingham. And you're expecting one of every 2 people showing up at a parade. I mean, that's pretty.
That's bold.
Yeah, very bold. So, and not to mention the fact that I'm sure that it was 110 degrees yesterday in Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like standing on the sidewalk
on
a nice, cool afternoon in OKC.
Yeah. In case you missed it, Pat Ponders, Conrad agreed to take a random person's used toothbrush and brush his teeth for 30 seconds for a mere $100. The original bet was $10,000, and that was derived from the question that Pat asked. But Conrad doubled down. A lot of you reacting to young Conrad and what he had to say. 205-834-9450. Some very entertaining. And look, everybody's not against you here, Conrad. And I know you don't care. You don't care. Give me the $10,000. I've kissed girls with a lot worse than strangers' hygiene. Sorry, Alan.
See, that's the thing, is the $10,000 part, if you're looking at it from that way, I think it's a no-brainer. $100, maybe not so much.
Somebody says no chance for $100, but for $10,000, it's a no-brainer.
There you go.
Conrad Drake asked, would you drink toilet water for $500?
Are we talking like
your toilet?
Well, and it depends, right? Like, is it with stuff in there, or has it been flushed?
That's a pretty important follow-up.
If it's been flushed, yeah, for $500, yeah.
Question that I asked him, is
water.
the big toe a pretty big toe, like a finely manicured tan toe ring, tennis bracelets included? No, this is a nasty.
See, I'm thinking like yellow toenail,
yes.
bent out of shape.
Yeah, got the fungus.
Yeah.
Got to get some Dr. Scholl's on that thing.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. No.
Someone said, Conrad, you got me worried about you, my man.
I've made it this far.
Imagine the nastiest mouth you've ever seen, then realize the next time you eat out, they may have used that fork.
Ooh. It's a good point.
Don't
Toothbrush doesn't sound so bad now, does it?
As good as it gets, you don't bring your...
No, I don't bring my own silverware to when I go out to eat.
A trip to a doctor and a round of antibiotics is less than $10,000. All caps profit. So they're on board.
Well, just having a strong immune system, you probably don't even need to go to the doctor.
Conrad is an Alabama fan, so it'll be the first time he's ever used a toothbrush.
That's good. That's good. That's a good one.
For the one tooth, right?
That's right.
The one you want to keep.
That's right.
Ranger B says, I'd brush my teeth with a urinal strainer for $10,000. Serious business.
Good night.
Oh. Tell Conrad to watch Indecent Proposal and see if he'll do anything for $1 million.
Okay.
You ever seen it?
Got some homework to do, I guess. I don't think so. Wait, that's the
Robert Redford?
Is that the one with okay.
Demi Moore and Woody Harrelson?
Yeah, okay, I have seen that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, no, maybe I shouldn't have said I would do anything for $1 million. Yeah, I haven't seen that movie.
You can't take it back now.
Yeah, I know. It's out there forever.
Somebody asking if you would attend a Diddy party for $1 million.
No, I would not. I'd be in prison forever, so no. Thank you.
Yeah, that was his caveat. He would not do anything that broke the law.
Yes. See, some of these I don't want to read because they're just reading them make me sick. I'll bring the toothbrush I use to clean my golf club, says Corey. Is it bad that I would rather use that toothbrush than somebody else, some random person's?
I was about to say that'd be better. Yeah, I'd rather do that. That's fine.
Thank you, Corey. We appreciate it.
What's that on your toothbrush? Mine's got dirt on it.
That's not dirt,
That ain't
son.
dirt.
Exactly.
You picked the worst example for a toothbrush, and I'll do it for 30 seconds, says one of our listeners. 30 seconds, no breathing. Take my teeth out at the denture clinic, have them wash with their special wash for dentures that have been accidentally dropped in for $150. Get a completely sterile wash in my mouth for 5 minutes, cost about $250. 1 hour after the experiment, I'm $9,640 to the good.
I like that. They put a lot of thought into that one.
A lot of math.
Good thinking.
Would you lick Roll Tide Willie's feet? That's what someone is asking.
No.
You said for $1 million you'd do anything.
Well, for $1 million, would I lick his feet? Yeah.
It's
$1 million and all you have to do is lick a person's foot?
Okay.
That's the easiest $1 million ever.
Hot day.
You kidding me?
Hot day, public place. It's been used. Would you take a shot glass full of Portalette water for $1 million?
For $1 million, yes. It is $1 million. Like,
I'm not doing that.
see, again, it's,
You don't have to keep saying $1 million. We all know what $1 million is.
I know, but just it's one of those things where you hear that and you go, "Oh, I wouldn't do that." But if somebody opens up a briefcase with $1 million, like it's right there and you're looking at it, I think you'd have a much different perspective.
Maybe, but I'd never admit it on public airwaves.
I'm just honest.
Sometimes too. honest.
That's right.
I don't know. The dry heave, I don't think I could get it down. And then that'd be worse. No, you don't get your money, and you've had that nasty toilet water in your mouth. I couldn't keep it down. There's no way.
Then you have to try it again, and you can't keep it down again, and now you're like 3 shots in.
I dry heaved in the break just thinking about it.
Okay, so back to the toothbrush. So you said 10,000, but then you said $100. Molly, 50,000. Would you use somebody else's toothbrush?
Maybe 50, but not 10. And again, a lot of it would depend where the toothbrush came
Yeah, I'm gonna be picky. For the
Yeah.
50,000, I consider it, but I want to know whose
from.
toothbrush
The
it was.
background of the toothbrush.
It would just help me mentally. Not that it matters. It's all
Yes.
disgusting and germs.
Yes.
But it would just help me.
It kind of defeats the purpose of the bet.
Sure it does. That's why I was out immediately at 10,000.
But if there was no information at all for 50 grand, would you do it?
No.
100,000. $100,000 cash.
For 100, yes.
So Molly's in for 100K, and she doesn't need to know any information on the toothbrush. Conrad will do it for $100.
I mean, y'all are driving a hard
Conrad's like,
bargain.
give me 100 toothbrushes.
You're going to have to pay me 100 to stop using it.
Love you, buddy.
All right, we will get to more of your text
Don't you
messages.
kiss me with that mouth, though.
Yeah, I can't wait till Paige gets off work this afternoon. Oh, how was the show today? Oh, well, guess what I'm going to do for $100? More 3-man front on Jox. 1:32. Coming up at the top of the hour will be the Paul Feinbaum Show right here on Jox. Is that old tree leaning a little bit too close to your house? Don't wait for that next storm to make the decision for you. Call Golston Tree Service, 205-337-4443. Your trusted local experts in fast, affordable, and professional tree removal, trimming, and cleanup. They're licensed, they're insured, they're ready to handle any job that you have for them. Call Golston Tree Service today, 205-337-4443. Golston also offers that 24-hour emergency tree service when it comes to your trees. Don't risk it. Call Golston Tree Service at 205-337-4443.
Phone lines are open, as is the Jox text line. We've gotten a lot of texts. We've been reading those throughout the show, but also 800-239-WJOX. Our friend Miles in Mississippi wants to say hello. Hello, Miles.
Hey, how are y'all doing?
We're doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. My in-laws bought my lunch today. It was great.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, how about that? Y'all, yesterday, and I won't talk about this anymore. I don't want to beat a dead horse or anything, but yesterday we talked a little bit about revenue sharing and the use of the student fee.
Yeah.
And I know it kind of got a discussion started on the text line. Didn't mean to do that.
No, that's fine. We appreciate that.
And I'm not sure the issue is as simple as if you don't want to pay student activity fees, don't go to college. I'm not sure it's that simple, because I think there are public opinion and political aspects to this. For example, I'm a free market guy, and I know y'all are too, but I don't think universities and even collectives really get to operate in free market. I really don't, because they have all these restrictions in the form of antitrust laws and labor laws and Title IX. And the athletes, they're not bound by those. They're completely free to do whatever they want. I mean, athletes can, they can collaborate about the benefits they receive and so on and so forth, but universities can't do that. It's illegal. And so my question is a market really free if all the participants in that market are not free?
Ooh. That's a really good question.
I got to pay. How about I'll go to the next one and see what you think about this. Okay, tell me if I'm right here. Public universities and even a lot of private ones, they receive taxpayer funding, correct?
Yes.
Correct. Okay. So that means the state taxpayers are somewhat of a stakeholder in these universities. I mean, does that make sense?
Very much so.
Okay. So I think, the state taxpayers, I think their feelings and their opinions matter. I mean, look at what happened to the University of Florida's new president. How about that? Does this make sense? I just don't think the whole student fee thing and the revenue thing is as simple as, I don't think it's as simple as a free market solution,
right,
which I enjoy. I think there's more to it than that. And I hate it that it's that way, but I don't think universities have a free market I don't think they have one.
Well, back to your point about we should have opinions, I agree totally. Unfortunately, here in our state, there are certain things that I would love to see come to a vote. And it's not just a gambling issue, but for some of these bills and some of these things that are proposed that are proposed by someone, and for whatever the reason, in some other part of the state, and the next thing you know, it's now become law, and nobody else had a say in it. Nobody had input. They didn't put it on a ballot. They didn't feel like it was worthy, or they couldn't trust us enough to vote on it. Those are the things that really irk me. But no, to your point, and going back to the student fees, I would rather, and this is just how my mind works, I would rather you go ahead and build that into the cost of whatever, my tuition. I just don't want to see student fees as a separate category of things that I'm paying for. Just go ahead, and if I go into a restaurant, don't charge me for bread. Charge me for bread without me knowing I'm being charged for bread.
Right. It's kind of like just because something's legal doesn't make it the right thing to do.
Correct.
Like I could hang a sign outside my door that says, I hate this person, and draw a line to my next door neighbor. But, that's not the it's legal, but that's not the right thing to do.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going yesterday. I wasn't trying to sound like a authoritarian and call for federal action or anything like that. I was just talking the moral aspect of it and the political. I think your state politicians care what people think, and I know for a fact, and I know you guys being in the media business, y'all know college presidents are terrified of bad press.
Yes.
I mean, terrified.
Yep.
But anyway, and I appreciate y'all's time and humoring an idiot like myself. But before I go, I want to say, the love of mammon is the root of all kinds of evil. And Conrad, you stepped in it today.
Thank you, Miles. Yes, he did.
You blew. Watch out for your love of money. Good luck, man.
Thanks,
Miles. Thank you.
Thank you, Miles. I promise you, I'm not doing it because I love money. It's more of a necessity.
It just made it worse.
Sorry, ask the question, Conrad.
I just hope you know that I will always answer everything very honestly.
That's apparent. No filter.
What you see is what you get.
Speaking of no filters, our good friend from the Big Ten is at it again. Brett Bielema is now implying that the University of Georgia is up to no good.
They're always up to no good, Pat.
So he's now implying that Georgia tampered with Illinois transfer running back Josh McCray. Quoting Bielema directly, somehow he found his way in the portal, and 12 hours after being in the portal, he was on a flight to Georgia. I don't know what happened, but it's crazy. End of quote.
Georgia support staff. They got somebody who's really good at booking.
Mm-hmm. Travel agency.
Happens everywhere.
Well, he wanted to go to Six Flags.
Oh, yeah.
It's the closest one, right?
Conrad, since you're Mr. Honesty here on the show, just rapid fire, first word that comes to mind when I say this, okay? Brett Bielema.
Fat.
It is.
I thought he was going to say hot wife.
That's 2 words.
Bravo.
More three-man front.
Kirby
We'll
Smart.
take your text. No, do not say anything. He's an SEC coach. We don't talk bad about our own. Only the Big Ten.
How do you know it's going to be bad?
Nah, it's Alabama graduate. What do you expect?
Winner.
More three-man front on this Wednesday. This is Jox. Courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. The number here is 1-800-239-WJOX. We have been waiting for this, and it seems like that it is now very close to officially happening. Texas state officials have informed the Sun Belt Conference that they are expecting an offer from the Pac-12 in the very near future, and they will be leaving the Sun Belt. The talks between Texas State and the Pac-12, they have intensified over the last 24 hours. This is a situation where if they were to leave the Sun Belt Conference before July 1st, it's a $5 million exit fee. If they were to wait till after July 1st, it goes up to $10 million. So that conversation with the Pac-12 and Texas State seems to be coming to a head as we speak.
When you think iconic American brands, you think about the Ford Motor Company. You think about our friends here locally at Dobbs Ford Birmingham on Parkway East. Wonderful folks. And they want to remind you with the 4th of July coming up next week, you're going to be off of work. Well, most of you are. You can get to Dobbs Ford because they're going to be open for business, serving up delicious hamburgers and hot dogs. Get by, enjoy a hamburger, a dog, or maybe both, and enjoy some of the great deals on the F-150s, the Broncos, the Mustangs, the Explorers, the Expeditions. They'll beat any competitor's price. You got to check them out. Dobbs Ford, wonderful people. And if nothing else, you can go have a little food, meet the wonderful Goshen family and the entire wonderful team at Dobbs Ford. DobbsFordBirmingham.com. Once again, on Parkway East. Check them out and make sure you tell them Landrum from 3-Man Front and Jox sent you.
So what do you think the end game for Brett Bielema is by him? Just knowing that the SEC is such a hotbed for conversation, like shows like this.
I guess so.
That we see his name. And
I forgot how annoying he is, but he is, when he gets on one of these heaters, he just keeps going and going and going. I don't know what his end game is, Pat. Is he wanting to take a page out of Wisconsin's book? Why don't you do that? Why don't you get your legal team to start suing universities?
I feel like he's laying the groundwork for them to not make the postseason this year, Illinois, and then he can go back and say, hey, look at all these things I was bringing up before the season, all this tampering, and then that he kind of has a built-in excuse already for why they underachieve.
See, I don't remember him being a whiner when he was in Madison.
Not when he was in Madison.
Well, I mean, even when he was at Arkansas.
Oh, he whined. It was just particular. He whined. Ask Gus Malzahn. Remember, it was the...
Well, that was more of an Auburn thing. I don't remember him doing it towards other schools. It was, for some reason, I don't know if he always thought that maybe Malzahn...
It was because he knew.
Malzahn wanted, I mean, not himself, but I'm saying I know there was a lot of people in the state of Arkansas wanted Malzahn to come back.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he felt maybe inferior or threatened.
Right. And maybe that's why. But, yeah, I mean, he never ran his mouth about Alabama or Georgia or anybody
When he came
else.
on this show, he could not have been a more delightful guest.
Yeah.
He was great.
But he's now in Big Ten country, and he's drinking that Kool-Aid, and he's just every opportunity. And he was on, I think it was on Barstool when he was doing the interview recently, and he was just talking about, like, how much fun he has. I guess he just knows that kind of poking at certain SEC folks.
Well, poke at Lane Kiffin. Poke at Lane Kiffin, and let's get that Twitter war going.
Well, because he knows that, first off, he knows that Kirby Smart's not on social media, so Kirby's not going to do anything.
Well, Kirby's not going to take time. Kirby's not going to take time out of his day to even entertain that. Whatever. Next order of business.
Kirby might not even know who the head coach at Champaign-Urbana is anyway. That's such a wonderful part of the world.
It sounds nice.
Is it really that bad? What's so bad about it?
It sounds like it would be beautiful. Champaign-Urbana? Sounds fancy.
If we said you live there the rest of your life or toothbrush, which one do you take?
Toothbrush.
Oh, wow. It's that bad?
Toothbrush. Maybe it was just the time of the year that I went. I don't know.
I don't think I've ever been.
You should go.
Did y'all play Illinois this year, Molly?
I'm going to be honest. When I had the option to travel there one of the years, I was on
You
the
just declined?
I declined.
Good move.
I asked my coach, I was like, can I please go to
Your
Wisconsin?
mommy and daddy didn't raise a dummy?
No.
This looks like a very vibrant
I said I'd rather go to
college
Camp Randall,
town.
and I got to go. So.
Notice all these pictures are when it's warm. Okay. I met somebody one time that went to school there.
It's a great school.
Yeah.
Highly regarded. Really good school. I think I just moved the school to another city.
Why did you have to go there?
Well, living in Southeast Missouri, I had an opportunity to go to many parts of central Illinois at certain times.
So that was just an easy drive over.
I mean, where I grew up, one of our television affiliates was from Cairo, Illinois.
That's always so weird when I go to you go down different parts of the state and that's your local affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
My NBC affiliate where I grew up in Southeast Missouri was Paducah, Kentucky. So it was all over the place.
So from Champaign-Urbana, which is the worst place, or one of the worst places, I guess, that Pat has seen, now to something else. This is the worst thing that Conrad has seen.
This is the worst thing I've seen.
Been in quarantine, and I need to get out and party. Woo! What's better than beach and a few drinks and Jeeps? Man, getting better than that. Law enforcement's definitely made their visitability and made people chill out and not be as crazy.
The cops are doing their job as long as they don't be mean to people who are actually being innocent. Then I'm all gravy, baby.
We may have a real interesting edition of this segment tomorrow, depending on, if anybody brings a toothbrush up to the draft party tonight. But for today, at least, we are going to stick, and this is a sad story in the world of Major League Baseball. But this goes back to something that happened last night, and we've already gotten, I guess, seemingly resolution to it today. There is some good news at the back half of this story. But last night you had a game between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Chicago White Sox there in Chicago, and Ketel Marte, who is one of the best second basemen in all of baseball and one of the very best players on the Arizona Diamondbacks, you could see there was video of him, and it looked like he was crying in the dugout on the field after something that was said to him by a fan. And unfortunately, it has now been proven that one of the fans there at Rate Field in Chicago had made some not very nice comments about Marte's mother, who is deceased. And it was very obvious that very quickly that did not register well with him, as it wouldn't with anybody, and he became very emotional. Unfortunately, he had some of his teammates and his manager that were very nice and went and made sure to comfort him and talk him through and make sure everything was okay. But just a very sad scene. Anybody that's lost their mother, I'm sure can relate to what Marte was dealing with yesterday. But it was apparently a 22-year-old fan who, after the incident, appeared to be very apologetic and remorseful. But I think it's safe to say probably someone that maybe had indulged a little too much and, got a little too into the game and, maybe figured, hey, he's not going to hear what I'm saying. I'm just a fan in the crowds. And unfortunately, Marte did hear it after his mother had passed away in a car accident back in 2017. So just a very unfortunate situation there for Ketel Marte. But fortunately, the White Sox organization came out and they, spoke out against this fan. And now we got a report just a couple of hours ago that this fan, the 22-year-old, has been banned indefinitely from every Major League Baseball ballpark. So not only Rate Field in Chicago, but all 30 parks, he is banned indefinitely after what he said about Ketel Marte's mother. And I think that is a good call by Major League Baseball. There's simply no room for that in not only baseball, but any sport.
Mm-hmm.
It's just bad. It's horrible.
I couldn't even call that person a fan. That's just
no.
terrible.
I mean, I think we all know. There's things you can say that toe a line, and there's an element of trash talk that's fun, even if you're a member of the fans in the crowd. But personal things like that, there's absolutely no rhyme or reason for it.
No, and not that this guy should be commended, but admitting to doing it, being remorseful, regretting it. Hopefully, this is something that he can learn from and move forward. I wouldn't want to. If I was that guy and I had done that, not only being remorseful, I wouldn't want to show up to another major league part.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. In a statement from Major League Baseball, they said the team personnel for the Diamondbacks, including manager Torey Lovullo, heard the comment and asked that the fan get ejected. According to another source familiar with the situation, the fan was immediately remorseful, admitting that he was the one saying the inappropriate comments like we discussed. And Major League Baseball said, quote, "We commend the White Sox for taking immediate action in removing the fan." That was yesterday, and now today they have announced that he is banned indefinitely.
If I'm sitting there and I'm witnessing that, whether he's a fan of my team or not, I'm saying something to him. Like, hey, man, chill out.
Yeah.
The problem is he's at a White Sox game, and you probably know the fans around him.
Yeah, there was also a similar situation, if you remember with Jarren Duran from the Red Sox earlier this year, where a similar situation happened, and that fan was also ejected and banned from all of the ballparks.
Oh, they said something ugly to Jared?
Yes, he had some struggles at one point in his life, and they made sure to bring those up, and it was very bad. So good on MLB for taking care of this.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for us today. We appreciate all of your interaction, all of the good, the bad. You can find that, 3-Man Front Podcast. Appreciate Brian Edwards, our Vegas insider from Major Wager, and also TJ Saint, head coach of the Birmingham Squadron. Coming up tonight, The Edge, the draft watch party. We're going to be there. Lots of prizes, great ways to interact with the Squadron and all of us, from all of us to all of you. God is great. Paul Feinbaum and the Paul Feinbaum Show is next.